to fix it up, but that was a couple of years ago, probably about 3 years ago. And I've since got it together.
Uh-huh.
I've learned to deal with the wasps that come in the
Oh, the
summertime.
wasps. You were telling
Yeah,
me about the wasps.
yeah, the paper wasp. Yeah, they're they. If you want to get aggressive with them, I imagine they would be aggressive with me too. But you leave them alone, they leave you alone.
Yes, it's
They
sage
build
advice.
with that.
Sage advice, because you start getting agitated, they get aggressive too.
Yeah, yeah. They build their nests, and they've got nests that they return to every year and have their little ones and all that stuff. The other thing is well, on the shed that's not far from here, I've got possums that live underneath there, and they
Awesome.
visit. And there was one, actually, a mother gave birth to. They're a marsupial, so she had 13 little ones.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a long story, but they carry them on their body and everything. And
Wow.
eventually,
That must be quite sweet. You've got an extended family living with you in the barn.
I do. And the skunks that live in the shed close to here, and I've got her. I can get within probably about 3 feet of her, but she trusts me. She doesn't spray, and I actually got to meet her 4 young ones about 6 or 8 months ago.
Go on.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything because they were so young. They just looked at me. I accidentally walked up on them, and they just looked at me. They didn't spray. But like I said, Sally, I call her Sally. She doesn't spray because she trusts me. But she does. She does spray if something happens outside, if she gets nervous or whatever. But I'm not there. And due to a car accident, I no longer have a sense of smell. So that's how.
Tell us more about that. That sounds a bit thingy.
In my wild days, back when, anyway, I was thrown outside the door of my truck, which I had wired shut, onto the highway, and I fractured my skull right behind my ear. And what it did is it tore the ganglia that holds the nerves that supply all your senses, whether eyesight, smell, hearing. And the outermost nerve is your sense of smell. That one got shredded. The others are still all right. I don't hear that well, but I'm alive, and that's the blessing. I was bleeding out of my ears quite profoundly. So anyway, but I lived.
Well, so for you, every day is a blessing.
It is. Yeah.
Has it given you a kind of refreshed kind of perspective on life, having that, well, close encounter with the other side?
Well, it can be taken very quick. It's caused me to be very aware of driving. I think a lot of people drive without being aware of the fact that it can be taken from you in seconds. That car that you're tailgating at 80 miles an hour or whatever, or 70 or whatever, should they decide to stop, or a deer run out in front, whatever, and you tail end,
it's over.
Head injury. Yeah, you're toast, and you won't even know it. Actually, this was my second head injury. The first one was a lady hit us head on. She was drunk.
Whoa.
I was driving in an older pickup, so there was no padded dash, and I fractured my skull up here. And 3 days later, I woke up in the hospital. Now, I could have been killed without even being aware of it. There was no gradual death. It was instantaneous. And I think, it's caused me to, when things get a little nervous in my life, it's caused me to look back on things like that and just rejoice in the fact that I got today.
Yeah. I'd say. Yes. Right then. Tell you what, we've done a bit of green room chat. I pressed the live button going live there because what you were saying was so interesting. I thought it'd be nice to have that at the beginning of the show. Okay. So I just thought to tell you now we're live. But sometimes, some of the best chat we have on the show is in the green room before, and all the juicy golden nuggets and it adds to the character and the color of our special guest that you are, and resident in-house expert tonight.
Well, thank you.
What we need to tell you what we need to do, Steve. You know what we normally do?
What's that?
At the beginning of a show, we do this. Well, what can we say? That's a bit Alfred Hitchcock meets Planet of the Apes, I think.
Yeah.
Right then, here we go. It's the 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live. Tonight, Azrael chats to special guest Stephen Johnson, an accomplished artist he is. More about that in a moment. We do art, comics, movies, games, and toys under the umbrella of storytelling. And you know what? It's Sunday, 19th of October. Azrael's vaulted the Arc of Time to be back here in time from a Japan Fest. We'll talk about more of that on my X space. But for now, we've got Stephen Johnson, very special artist, an artist we call him, and he's our special guest tonight. It's 7 p.m, give or take, Greenwich Mean Time, and we do love Steve's profile picture. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a follow on X, and it's a subscribe on YouTube. If you could give Steve a follow on X or ourselves at the 5 Pillars of Storytelling, we'd appreciate that very much. He says, look into green light of my iMac so I can maintain that special eye contact with the audience for the future, as well as the one for the present. Right then, let's go to the next slide. Host introduction. Don't worry, I'm going to be quiet in a minute because it's going to be all about what Stephen's going to say. So, host introduction. Hello there. Welcome to 5 Pillars of Storytelling Live, where we talk art, comics, movies, games, and toys. Think golden thread going through the eyes of the needles. That's what can we call it? The golden thread of storytelling. I'm your host, Azrael. My secret identity is Carl Prometheus. Storyteller, artist, and promoter of indie creators. Indie comics as well. Might do one of those myself one day. What do you think, folks? And we're doing our bit to help grow the indie comic community, our humble bit. Our style is universal. We can be watched by creative families, creative adults, and the creative younglings. Our motto is to listen, to learn, and share. Inspiring quote, comics on international language. They can cross boundaries and generations. Comics are a bridge between all cultures. Osamu Tezuka, legend. And we certainly learned that today when we were at Japan Fest in the Middle Kingdom. Somebody who's into manga, they're from Australia, but in Britain, selling themselves and their product. We think it's absolutely beautiful. Storytelling takes many, many forms. Now, guest introduction tonight is short but sweet. It's Stephen Johnson. Here's a bit of prose. We'll say something nice about him. Stephen Johnson at Stephen John 7243. He's an illustrator. Calm as gentle waves. A vista that paints in our mind. At least trying to be, he says, available for work. It doesn't say it here, but we're going to say it. He's an artist, and his work is very accomplished. So welcome to the show, artist Stephen Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you. Awesome. This is awesome. It really is. It's just amazing. I mean, to have the opportunity to be able to do this and speak about what I do.
It's great. Yeah. It's Star Trek technology. By the way, folks, Steve, this is your bit of paradise at the view of your property.
Yeah, that the wave there and everything. That beach is special to me because my great grandfather was a Portuguese whaler that went around the Cape Horn and landed in one of the stops was along California coast back in the 1860s was San Simeon Bay, which he stopped there. he stayed. The property was later bought by, well, actually it was owned by George Hearst anyway. I don't know if you've heard of Hearst Castle or the Hearst. Hearst actually had, what was it? Quite a few magazines and stuff like that. He was very, very wealthy. Anyway, he built a castle there. But my great-great-grandfather got off the ship there. His 3 sons all were cowboys and eventually ended up with property and raised cattle. About 14 years ago, I was co-trustee of the family ranch, which was 4,600 acres.
Wow, it's a lot of land.
Yeah, there's quite a few ranches like that in this area, in the central coast of California. They date way back to the 1800s. Family ranches. So
you've got legacy in terms of your artistic paradise.
Yeah, that's and I go up there frequently just to let go and create and to get ideas. It's a beautiful bay. It really is. It's Hearst State Beach. Not a lot of people go to it, and you can walk way up on that point and go out to the peninsula and just kind of get lost. You always need that space to create. And nature has a way of just kind of showing you, opening your brain to different stuff.
I think you're absolutely right there, Steve. Nature has a way of unlocking the trappings of our modern living, taking us back to that primordial rain and bare feet and walking on the beach, being one with nature, being calm, being connected with nature. I think the more we get disconnected from it, I think that's possibly why there's so much discord in the world. It's perhaps we lose that cord to nature. When that goes awry, we lose it a little. I think we start to feel disenfranchised. Now,
especially for creating. I call it the zone. Being able to enter into the zone. There are certain things. I mean, it may take you an hour to get to the zone. It may take you 5 minutes, and it depends on the outside environment. And your emotional state at that time, how quick you can get to that creative space. At least it does for me.
It's do you know what you say in the zone? We call it that as well. Once you activate that artistic hemisphere of your brain, the right side, it's almost like you're on a higher universal cosmic plane, like you're one with the cosmos, and time and space have no meaning. It's all about just creating. It's a beautiful feeling. You just get lost in the moment.
Exactly. Time loses everything. Because I wanted to be a mechanic when I was younger. So I use this term, you're firing on all 8 cylinders.
Yes.
That basically you're creating without really any forethought, and it's all working. Everything's coming together.
Yeah.
Now you can't always depend on being in that space, because otherwise you won't get anything done. But I think it's a process. When you're there, then you lose track of time and everything else. I've been telling my wife I want to get a cot out so I can put it out here in the barn. And when I get into that place, not to leave and just even sleep here and then get back up in the morning. Anyway.
Well, and do you find actually when you're in the zone, the work comes much more easily? It's almost like it's a divine script or divine visuals that almost like you're a priest at Delphi taking on the divine message of the paint, almost like your hands being guided by a higher force.
Exactly. And it is that I can just have a blank page in front of me and get creative, and I pick up. I one of the things when I was teaching, and I still do teach, but just not anything right now, but was to draw what you see. And if you can just interact with what you're seeing around you and begin to render that is one of the keys to getting into the zone. For me, it is anyway.
Draw what
And
you think you see rather than draw what you actually see, rather than what you think you see.
Because
So,
go ahead. That
so well,
opens
so,
up
so you
that
don't
door.
you don't go into those prescribed patterns in your brain. So we've all got an idea of what an eye is in our head as a pattern or a motif or as a shape. But actually, on any given day, the lighting might be different, the ambience might be different. That can affect how you see an eye. Every person's different. So to actually see and study what's actually there, rather than your brain will trick you because it's inherently lazy. I will go back to the patterns that you tell me. I mean, you've got experience forged in the flames because you've been. Well, I'll tell you what. That's the first question, and then we'll get into this because we want to know who you are. Who is Stephen Johnson? We don't want to know about your storytelling influences. We want to know about your art journey, any movies that kind of influence your visuality, any music. For some people into indie comics, we say, you got a business plan. Think about what music would you be into. You know what I mean? For us, it'd be Queen. For somebody else, it might be Karen Carpenter from the Carpenters. It might be the Beatles. We know one of your musical video, one of your art videos has a Beatles track to it. So we're going to we've got this thing at the bottom, this quote from you. We've got this picture here. And we'd like you to tell us a bit about yourself and read that quote, please, sir.
Okay. Let's see here. Where do I start? Who am I? I started, my first recollection of drawing was actually, I was probably 8 years old, and I fell in love with comic books, and I wanted to be a comic book artist. So I would sit in front of the TV, and I created my own comic strip. Me and my older brother, he had his own one, and I did mine too. And
really?
I just kept drawing, and he was drawing, and I picked up a lot of the styles from the artists back in the 60s. I wasn't really into Jack Kirby. I was more into Neil Adams and the others. And I don't want to lose track of where I'm going here. Anyway, so
Neil Adams, he was considered the Batman's artist of choice, wasn't he? The kind of Batman artist. So realistic.
Yeah. Neil Adams, when he was doing, but this was even before that, but that's just kind of where I went. But
Steve, just got to give you a compliment here. John's Longbox does a great community podcast. If you could get on his show sometime, you could kind of DM him and ask him, see if he's interested. But
he already interviewed me once.
Did he? All right.
Yeah,
So you're a veteran then. You've already done the podcast kind of tour de force.
Yeah,
John's just saying he really loves your artwork there, Steve.
Yeah, we already talked. He might want me to do a cover for a comic book. We'll see. I don't know. But okay, what influences me, or who am I? Oh gosh. I was raised without any formal art education. I mean, I could draw, but I was also, you got to understand where I was raised. I was raised in a country atmosphere on a ranch that basically my folks, we weren't wealthy at all. And my dad was a hard worker. Anyway, they saw I could draw. Well, they liked that. They said, now go find a job, which I did. And so any art education didn't happen other than a little bit of community college, but that was it. Anyway, then the first car accident, actually. And then later, after the second car accident, I broke my hip unloading a truck, which really pushed me into, it took the job away. I couldn't work. I was disabled while the workman's comp went on. So I started taking classes at a community college in art, and I started to grow a little bit as an artist. And let's see, as everything kind of fell up, as I started to grow as an artist and people saw what I could do and everything, it caused me to want to do more and more of that. So this is my biggest education was part of workman's comp is they want to retrain you for another job. So my attorney saw that I could draw, and they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to send you down to another community college that will teach you to be a technical illustrator. A technical illustrator is somebody, this was before CAD or computer-aided design. This is all done by hand. They would draw on Mylar, either with ink pens on Mylar. Everything had to be perfect. They would use Zipatone screens. They would airbrush and whatever to get a perfect, let's say, a brake drum, or how to take apart a brake drum on a car. This drawing, I'm sure you've seen them, that would be so precise, and this is all done by hand. They sent me to a small junior college where I learned to sort of do that for a couple of years. Then when school was over, they said, now go look for a job. Well, I tried, but then CAD, computer-aided design, was coming in, and General Dynamics or any big companies wouldn't hire you unless you knew CAD. Well, I didn't know how to do computer-aided design, so I turned around, came back home, and worked for the state of California at Hearst Castle. Experienced a lot of drugs. I did a lot of stuff that from 17 years old on, I abused a lot of drugs. It slowed my progression as an artist for sure. It doesn't help. Okay, anyway, so let me see. So basically, workman's comp, working at Hearst Castle. Then there was something in me that knew I was still an artist, so I kept trying to break into it. Yeah. Again, back to the community I live in is a very small community, and the artwork that sells around here, and not to put anybody down, but if it doesn't match your couch, it won't sell. Yes. Does that make sense? Or you see what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about finding every teapot has a lid.
Yeah.
And that probably applies to art as much as it does love, and we think people connect to other people often through what they do and their actions, If you've got a similar culture, it's not to do with the surface of how you look. I think that can be a very small part of it, but I think it's the grace, the gentleness and generosity of the person inside that counts. And if your soul is meant to connect to another creative soul,
right,
then by a higher divine will, it is so. It's some people help you, some people hinder you, and maybe some people teach you. One of those three souls you might meet in your life, and if you've got one that will heal you in a loving relationship, that you're blessed by God.
Yeah. I mean, just to fast forward, that's what's happened to me as far as my artistic ability. It while I was trying to make a living, this being an artist was always inside of me. Yeah. And that was kind of like that picture there that you're showing. That was kind of like one of the breakthrough things that caused me to, that was actually design. That was one of the pictures that caused me to really pursue art and leave everything behind. Yes. It did cost me my first wife. Although not really. There was a lot of other stuff going on, but that was one of the things, is when I wanted to be an artist. And I've been blessed finding a wife that is a musician herself, and just that perfect union.
She gets creative. Sorry to interrupt. She gets creativity. The first one couldn't relate to it, but your second one,
no. Yeah, and Elena, it totally understands, and she just gives me my space to create, because I give it to her too, as far as songwriting, and she's also a writer. anyway, back to this picture. This was one of the ones that I'm thinking, and it got appreciated by a lot of people. Unfortunately, it sold for like $400, I think, or something like that. It was nothing to really cause anything to happen. But let's see. So that happened. I have done a lot of other jobs since the divorce. Okay, so go to the divorce, and then a lot of other jobs. But I was always an artist. I did T-shirts. I did this. And then I got the job as a resident artist at this gallery, local gallery, and I met a lot of other artists that helped me to improve my style. I saw how they dealt with things. The rules of composition became a lot more clear to me. By one thing, just to clarify, I am an illustrator.
Would you classify yourself as an illustrator then?
Yes.
Commercial artist, illustrator.
Yeah. And what's different is an illustrator takes words and turns them into a visual representation, a two-dimensional visual representation. It's fun. It's to take, and it depends on how free you are, is whether it's dependent on the writer, whether you're writing it yourself, where you're totally free, or if you're working for somebody else, I've been blessed that the two writers I've worked with have allowed me just to really do what I wanted to do because they liked what I did.
Trust.
So basically
they trusted you.
My work is, I don't do pictures of mountainsides or landscapes. I don't do that. I can, but I would rather relay something a little bit deeper rather than a visual. And I don't know if there's a side note, but with an illustrator, you're free to run with the rules of composition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, where that hillside that this house that you're doing a picture of is restrained by, its composition is restrained by facts. I mean, it's there in front of you, and you're rendering it in two dimensions. Where an illustrator, I have free reign with taking, say, like that girl there that's standing in front. I had a choice of where to place it all, where to move the colors around, and the color of the dress, and that. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the composition is something you're in charge of. And yet it all looks nicely blended in, as if you'd taken a paintographic photo. It looks all blended in, it's so, you can move things around and work things out at the pencil stage and blend them all in with the paint.
Yeah, this is kind of an older piece. This was actually, like I said, one of the groundbreakers. This was done quite a few years ago, actually.
A breakthrough piece for your career, yeah.
It pointed me towards where I'm going to go and who I am. I think who I am would probably be the best thing.
Yes.
Definitely.
So it started you on the way to being Stephen, the artist.
Right. And this is my thing about that. What makes you an artist is your desire. The rest is exercise. So you can be an artist and bag groceries at the local grocery store and bury it.
Yes.
Or you can be like Tom Petty and be an artist and pursue it diligently.
Yes. Got you. What's your favorite?
I just like Tom Petty. That's why I said
that. Yeah. Well, so in terms of then, if you had something playing in your artistic business plan when you're at an art exhibition or selling a piece of work or connecting through an illustration, through a graphic novel or book or a comic, so Tom Petty would be your musical band. That's what's playing in your head as you're giving it to the audience.
Yeah. And it's just that for some reason it goes back to a stage in my life where a lot of stuff was happening. And anyway, when he first came around, when the band, Actually, it's not just Tom Petty. It's the Heartbreakers too. You got to give them credit because they have in the background.
What's your favorite Tom Petty song? For us, it's is it "Running Down a Dream"?
No. Actually, no. You asked me that. Let me think. Oh, what is it now? It's
Free Falling.
Huh? Free Falling. No, it is Free Falling, and I can remember that because I was coming back from Hearst Castle off of one of the tours, and I was in a bus coming in. It's a long hill that you're driving down, and this friend of mine that was driving the bus, we were alone. There was nobody else on the bus, and he said, "You got to listen to this song." And he had something that helped me to get out there. Anyway, so the song made just tons of sense. This free falling as we're going down this mountain road in this huge bus. So anyway, that's my memories of that. And anyway.
So do you want to read this quote and explain why this quote is with this picture, please? So if you read the quote, please.
Yeah. Okay. You want to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and against such there is no law. During this, I came to the end of myself. This is at the close of my first marriage, and it's a long story. I came to the end of myself. I saw myself I couldn't go a night without excessive drinking. I couldn't, as long as I wasn't caught, it was all fine. And then my then wife, my first wife, had an affair, and everything became more real. But not just that. I started to see everything that I was working for, worrying about, could be taken away in a snap. Yeah. It caused me to develop a relationship with Jesus Christ. What's being said here is basically, and this is what Paul's letter to the Galatians, he's speaking to them of walking in the Spirit, not walking in the flesh. And being able to, this is evidence of walking in the Spirit, is to be able to practice love, joy, peace, long suffering. That's a hard one. That's a hard one because our flesh doesn't want to do that. The kindness, the goodness, you have faithfulness, and then the self-control. For me, that's a hard one too.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what made a big deal in my life and helped to alter and change my life and where I'm at now.
I see.
Yeah.
So we get redemption. There's a hero's journey. We can rise, fall, and rise again.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our second chance at telling our story.
Yeah.
What does, you've hinted at it with the illustrations, commercial art, telling stories by the sounds of things. What does Stephen Johnson create? Give us your elevator pitch. If we were at your convention table at a Japan Fest, or I don't know, a comic convention or an art convention, how do you sell your art to us in terms of what you're all about as a commercial artist, illustrator?
How do I sell my? And I've done this. I mean, like I said, I was at the gallery for 10 years, I think. Well, as a resident artist for 5 years. How do I sell my art? For this particular piece right here, this is dealing with fear. The whole story was written about the fox's fear of little girls and the little girl or the princess's fear of foxes. When they encounter each other, after this page, they'll soon discover that there's no reason to be afraid.
Got you.
So if I were to sell this piece, my intent was to show this fear that would have happened as they discover each other. And I think there's always in our life, there's going to be fear that we're going to encounter. And the way to overcome that fear is realize that if you look at it deeply, there's really nothing to be afraid of.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's a new day, a
Yeah.
new act of courage. Every day is a chance to surprise yourself and get beyond yourself. Stop worrying about those little things that just don't matter, because
That's right. Yeah.
you
And
go
you
to
can't
sleep
change
and wake.
them.
Gone.
Yeah. You can't change them anyway. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of what you call ruminating in people's lives, I guess, and they go and have therapy for that. But
Mm-hmm.
let go of the past.
Yeah.
It's the path to the dark side. It won't help you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just storing up baggage in your back, baggage in your head. It stops you having a good night's sleep. And ruminating is probably one of the worst things we can do. We need to let go and seek a brighter tomorrow. I think, right, I've had a good night's sleep. Let's get something nice for breakfast, a nice hot drink, and see what we can do today. Let's go to the barn and create some great art. How about that?
There you go.
There
Basically,
you go.
when my morning starts, like this morning, I was up at 6 and watching the sunrise. To me, that's a stage for the performance for the day.
Go on, we're listening.
It's a new performance. I mean, it's my chance now to put it all together and let everything go that was a weight. It's no longer with me, Anyway.
So, like the circadian rhythm, you go to bed when it's dark and you wake up when it's dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's why you look sprightly and healthy.
Well, yeah, I try to exercise every night too, because I have found you want to release the endorphins in your brain. Exercise is the best way to do that.
Almost to get rid of the bad juju before you go to sleep that night.
Yeah. I've got these weights in the barn/studio that I use, and I get done probably about 9:00. And then I go and I work out for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes, good man.
Yeah, well, I'm not consistent. I mean, I'll come back to the drawing and kind of tinker with it, and then I'll go back to the weights, and you see what I mean? And so that's why maybe the 45 minutes, but anyway.
I see, a man that keeps fit as well. I'll tell you what, this sounds like, an artist's dream. You're fit, you can go to the beach, you've got a studio called The Barn. I mean, folks, anybody who's listening to this now while they're doing the chores around the house, and anybody who's listening to this while drawing at the drawing table, I mean, it sounds like Steve's got it all locked down. Right. I like this phrase too here. Welcome who you meet today. New, no fear. I think it's great.
And that was really the idea behind the whole piece. I mean, what I had was handed to me was a short story, and it was actually a song to begin with. And then it was just the lyrics to the song. So it was up to me. She gave me free reign to interpret the song or the lyrics.
Wow.
In a visual. And I knew the princess. She told me how old she was, and actually it was her daughter, and she gave me a picture of her daughter and a fox. I had fun describing foxes, a lot of sketches to get to where you understood how to draw a fox. The forest was personal for me. That's kind of that. Remember that ocean scene that you saw to begin with?
Yeah.
If you were to go up on the hilltop, that's where that is.
Really? So,
yeah.
Paradise beyond paradise.
Yeah.
Multi-layered paradises.
And that's why I introduced the fox there, and then the princess, and then the discovery. And see, this is the shock to when you come face to face with your fear.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's all about having the courage to face your fears. If you're shy, have the courage to start a YouTube channel. If you're worried about your art being good enough, do the first one, get it done, do the next one, it's going to be better. Get up and greet the day, greet the sun, get some breakfast, greet the sun, have a fantastic sea view, do your next piece of artwork. By the time you've done 2,000 pieces of artwork, you won't care what anybody thinks.
That and another thing, and I'm glad you brought that up, because when you have that drive. The next part is exercise. And the best way to exercise is to continually. If you're, when I was teaching, and if I do still teach, I mean, there's been nothing lately, but anyway, I would always say, okay, put a glass in front of you or a can or something in front of you, a physical object, turn off your brain. Use your hands and your eyes to describe the object. Yes. Okay? Yes. If it doesn't look like you think it should or what you see, look deeper and see why it doesn't. You can use actually the negative space describes the positive space. That's one good rule to keep. Light and shadow actually do a lot to describe the object, but I try to keep them away from doing anything other than a line drawing. Okay, but the key, turn off your brain. Don't overthink it. And what you're doing is you do enough drawings of that jar. You do enough drawings of that brush, of that car, whatever. You're storing a file cabinet in your brain to when this job comes up and you're going to illustrate a blonde driving a Mercedes. Well, you've drawn enough cars in the parking lot at Walmart to where you know what a car looks like. Yes. You know how the perspective and everything to use on it because you've drawn it enough. It's here in your brain. You know what a blonde looks like because you've drawn figures before. You've stored that back here. Put them all together, and boom, there you go.
Gotcha. Like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, and that comes from looking. But one of the keys, is to turn off your brain. Don't overthink it. Because when you do, your brain's going to want to take the easy way out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bullseye. Yes, your brain will fool you. It will teach you. It's all about that perception of, and like you're saying, the hand. Just what you see and the mechanics of the hand. Yeah. Right. If you can see, then it's all about just training the mechanics of the hand, and then it's stored memories. Right. It's stored memory files in your brain, isn't it?
Right. And see, that's that exercise that I'm talking about. It doesn't make you an artist. What makes you the artist is your drive, your desire. And like I said, that can be buried. You can bury that and wait until or never explore it, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's something we've wrestled with personally, and getting back to a drawing board. We did that today. Mm-hmm. We attended a manga drawing class. We missed the morning session, vaulting the arc of time. We were a little bit late, so we got the afternoon session. And just the sheer joy of some sheets of paper and a pencil that was ready, sharpened for me. And you know what? It was like this lady of experience, this professional manga artist, who's taken the tutorial workshop class, and there were people of all ages there, young kids, teens, older people. A surprising amount of young people want to do manga. They like that anime style from the Eastern exotic Japan and that, and just the sheer joy of drawing again and not worrying. We just turned the brain off, picked up the pencil, and looked, just like you said.
Yeah.
Right then, next slide. We've got a few to go through. Hey, you know what? We've got a little trailer. I'm going to play that ballerina one that we like so much.
Okay.
Here we go. Right, here it is. And that one and that one. We like it so much, we're going to play it again. We like that. We like that a lot. And we do like this one, the studio tour. So we're going to have a little look at this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where the skunks live out there. And that's a Bible scene I'm working on that it's still very rough right now.
Just the layers of prep, you know?
I work on tracing paper. I'm not that adept at doing layers on like Procreate, and I don't know Photoshop, but I know Procreate a little bit, but I use tracing paper instead, just layers of tracing paper.
Do you ever use a light box to kind of get that
Yeah,
extra clarity?
yeah, I do. I do sometimes. Yeah, I haven't needed to with this. This is more just exploring ideas and perspective.
Go on.
Yeah, I mean, I did when I did the album cover. I don't know if you have a picture of that, which was within about a year, and it kind of forced me to learn Procreate because the artist
A
or
specific task for a commission.
what's that?
For a commission.
Yeah, yeah, and when I did the illustration for the cover, I thought that was going to be it. Oh, because anyway, I had used his daughter and his granddaughter as the models for one of that other book that I illustrated. And then he saw the work, and he's a musician, and he asked if I would do the album cover for him, which I did the illustration. And then he asked, could I do the design on the back of it and the sleeve?
Wow.
I had done design in San Diego years ago, but this was old school design where it was all rubber cement and X-Acto knives and just tape and
X-Acto knives, crikey, and screen tones and all that sort of stuff. You're taking us down memory lane here, Steve.
What's that?
You're taking us down memory lane with the X-Acto knife.
It did because I knew how to do design, but I didn't know how to do it fast. And I have an iPad, so I went down to the Apple store, the local Apple store, and they taught classes in Procreate for free.
Wow.
Yeah, every Wednesday. And so I went for probably about 8 Wednesdays and learned Procreate. And that's how I set up the design for the back of the album and the sleeve and the little label on the albums, because he did vinyl. So each one had a illustration and the label, the name of the song and length of the song and all that stuff on it.
So a dream commission, really, to do vinyl work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right then, you sent us a series of pictures, and we just went crazy, included them all, because we thought, has Steve sent us a narrative for an illustrated book or something? It almost seemed like they were connected. So we haven't put any words on them. We thought the man himself, Steve, the artist and resident in-house expert tonight, Johnson, can talk us through each picture as we put them up. Tell us about this one, please, Steve.
Okay, this one. This came about. Okay, this came about from a financial need, and I'll explain it to you how it happened. I was about ready to go to, and I'm close to going back to trying to get a job at Walmart or something, but I was close to having to just try to find other work because I needed the money. And this lady came over to help me cut some, it was to do some yard work. Okay. So she was going to help me do some yard work. She came into the barn or the studio and she saw what I did. She saw that album cover that I had spoke about, and she saw some of my other work. And she said, my ex-husband, who is the figure in the back on the right-hand side of the triangle with the hat on, he passed away about a couple of months ago at this time, or maybe not even a month ago, maybe a month ago. And he passed away, and her son, which is on the left-hand side behind the other on the triangle, died of a heroin overdose.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah. And the figure in the center is her son that just had a baby, or his wife had a baby. And he said, so she's telling me all this stuff. He said that he felt the presence of his dad and his brother when he was holding the baby. She said, can you do a picture? She gave me free reign on it. So basically what I did is I went to the local Barnes and Nobles, went up to the coffee bar, had a cup of tea, and just brainstormed and just it's really fun to do because I'm sitting there, these ideas are flowing, like boom, boom, boom. And then I just start drawing people in the coffee bar or the whatever coffee there, and then countertops. And I just start drawing all this stuff and it starts to come together. So this is what came out of it. Then the initial sketch was of this triangle because there's 3 figures involved. Remember, composition. And 2 of them are passed away. The one isn't, and it's all centered on him. He loved the forest, so that was easy for me to drop the forest in. Composition, again, back to composition, warm and cool colors. Well, the warm colors pull everything right to your eye. The cool colors drop you back, but that's the forest, is the cool colors. See how it all works?
So you're playing with depths, foreground, middle ground, background, depth cueing.
Right. And I'm using warm and cool colors to do that.
To manipulate the depth of focus,
right?
Of narrative focus. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So there's a profound meaning behind this painting. Yeah. Indelible. So.
Yeah.
Right then, tell us about this. This looks to us like some kind of children's book illustration.
It is. This book is available. It was published. Unfortunately, the sales are not that great. But anyway, I've learned to not depend on that. Finances are you can't base. You can't. And so many people. And just side note here. So many young artists that I talk to say, "Well, I'm not really an artist because I don't get paid for it. I'm not making any money," but that doesn't determine if you're an artist or not. Van Gogh sold 1 painting, and that was to his brother. Okay, and that was relative for some reason. I know. Anyway,
he's rich like many artists after the fact. It's ironic that his paintings go for millions or tens of millions of pounds. Picasso, all of them.
Right. And I don't know if you've ever, just a side note on that too, and I'll go back to this, but I don't want to get lost here, but I don't know if you've ever been to the Getty Museum in Los Angeles.
Haven't. Go on.
They have a couple of rooms that are all Van Goghs.
Wow.
And you can feel, if you're open to it, you can feel the emotion of the paintings as you're going through it. You can feel his state of mind in the different, as you're going through the room. And that's
frustration.
Yeah, and that's one the elation, the frustration, the ups and downs, everything. You can feel them if you're open to it. And that's one of the really intense parts about artwork. This God-given. Okay, back to this. This was somebody that I'd known for years, and he is a writer. But he actually was can't remember the term, but he would actually help families that were had children that needed help and everything. Anyway, before they got thrown into jail, he would deal with them. Anyway, but this had nothing to do with that. He was also a writer, so he comes up to me when I was at the studio as a resident artist, and he said, "I've got a story. I want you, if you could illustrate it for me." A short story. So he hands me the pages and he pays me, and the price. Anyway, so the story is all about a mother and a daughter and a teapot. This teapot. It involves a teapot. It's called the Christmas Tease, TEA''SE by John Stevens. Anyway, I'll try to describe what's going on here. This was I got a spider on my, that's the one thing about being in a barn. You never know what you're going to pick up.
You get attacked by a spider.
No, they just crawl in my hat. But anyway.
He's looking at that. Me and spiders have, we have a colourful track record history with one another.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, spiders. Yeah. As long as don't have a red air hourglass underneath themselves, then you got to kind of get rid of them. But anyway, what's going on here? This is the mother's talking to the daughter, and they're kind of joking between each other. And the mother is saying to the daughter, I need your help preparing for this Christmas tea.
Yeah.
And can you help me after you've got done finishing the milk delivery? Okay, that's all I had. So this was fun to play with my head. Okay, the milk delivery. What's she talking about? Well, notice the milk truck that she's playing with.
Got you.
Yeah. Notice the blanket that she has over her lap, because that's the mountains that the milk truck has to go through. That's the game. That's what she's playing with. The rest of it is just various pieces of that might have been in that house. That chair that she's leaning up against is actually from the author's house. And some of the background is, that lamp is from the author's house. And that chair as well.
So does your writer give you some reference material and say, well, look, these are some of the kinds of vibe I want you to put across in the paintings?
Uh-huh.
Do you get that reference material sometimes, or do you just kind of source it yourself?
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I don't, and I wish I had the rough sketches on there for you to see. They are on my site. I think they're accessible on Twitter. But anyway, okay. I don't use reference materials until after I've done the sketch.
Oh yeah, go on.
I might just visually really quick. Remember about how I used the file cabinet I talked about? Yeah. So I knew I wanted a truck. So it wasn't an actual truck. It was my rendition of a truck, rough in charcoal and pencil on a piece of paper that just a lot. I wish I could show you what it looked like. Anyway, just a lot of lines. And then once it's established where it's at, then I'll go use reference materials
to lock it in. So in terms of keeping that initial compositional stage alive and loose and free, so you don't get locked into details and rigid accuracy of a lifelike image. You want just it's almost like a thumbnail. You want to capture the gesture of the idea first.
And and if you ever get a chance, or maybe you have, but explore the illustrators, whether it was Lendecker, Dean Cornwell, Howard Pyle, N.C. Wyeth. If you were to explore what they did before they actually did the painting, it's incredible, because they would basically do that. They would rough out all these sketches to get their idea laid down. Then they would hire models. They might go as far as to put costumes on them and stuff like that. But it was all in reference to their own ideas. One of the big things that I had to deal with, because I have the ability to draw what I see. I can, for whatever reason, can draw exactly what I see. The danger with that is becoming a Xerox machine.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of artists that can do fantastic drawings of Madonna or of any famous actresses and stuff like that. But what they're doing is they're just rendering a photograph, and they become nothing more than a Xerox machine, because, and I don't want to get too critical here, but because artists like to hear people say, "Oh, you're good. Wow, you're good. Wow, you're good." And the thing is, what's the danger in that is you stay at that place. Yeah. You keep reproducing the same picture of John Wayne or of this and that, and you don't grow as an artist. You stay right in that same place because you like people saying, ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
It's a place of safety.
Yeah.
And comfort.
Yeah. There are some famous artists that never went past that. All they do is recreate the same thing over and over again.
Well, yeah, it's like if Tom Petty or Queen's if Queen just knocked out variations of Bohemian Rhapsody, then Bohemian
Right.
Rhapsody would have been unique, and they want to have gone on to create all sorts of other decent music. You know, the same with the Beatles. They didn't stay in the same place. They kept going and going and pushing it, didn't they? You know.
And I use the Beatles as an example when I was teaching. Was basically they did pop music up until Revolver, I think I would say.
Yeah.
And they did, and then once they'd established themselves, then they became artists.
Yes.
And anyway.
No, well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, I think when I was at doing one's degree back in the day, I spoke to somebody on the course, and he said, "Well, I can." He didn't say Xerox, but he said, "I can copy quite realistically, but my brother can create art." Back what you say, yeah. And I looking back through the ocarina of time, I can see what he meant. It was, I can copy, I can Xerox it, I can draw what I see, but my brother could do that and also make it art. He can create art out of it.
My wife, and that's why I'm blessed to be married to her. She is a musician. She is a little bit older than I am, but she was involved in the hippie movement and stuff like that. And her husband that she lost to cancer, they used to perform, but they would always do reproduce other songs. He wanted to get paid, so he would go to the bars and he would do Allman Brothers or whatever. She wanted to do her own music.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do it. So she doesn't understand that. I mean, it's nice to have somebody that can bounce and understands where I'm at with things too. But she wanted to create her own. He didn't. He wanted to get paid. So he redid other people's songs.
Yeah. I think the way Queen did it on the college circuit before, they didn't do the pubs, actually, they did the college circuit. But what they did was they'd put in some of the popular stuff, but then say, this is our original stuff.
Right.
And gradually built up their following that became accustomed to their original material. Now then, I tell you what, tell us more.
Yeah. This one, okay, I'll tell you the story, what happens. I'll try to make it quick. So basically, it involves this teapot. So the little girl really loves the teapot. It's something that's just like she just really wants to have a tea party with her stuffed animals with it. Her mom doesn't want her to have it. So it involves starting at that picture. The first one asked me, will you help me? And then there's a few more ones where will you help me? So basically, the little girl, when her mom isn't looking, grabs a teapot, goes upstairs and has a tea party with her stuffed animals. Okay, so mom realizes the teapot's gone. So she yells at the little girl from downstairs, and there's a couple of pictures of that, and said, do you know where the teapot is? I can't find it. So that scares the little girl. I think her name was Arius or something like that. Runs to the hides in the bathroom. Mom goes upstairs, goes into the room, sees the teapot with the stuffed animals around it for the tea party. And she had this kind of devious idea. She said, well, what I'm going to do, she takes the teapot away. She takes the shards of broken pottery, scatters them on the ground with a book right in the center of it. So it looks like the book fell off the shelf onto the teapot, breaks the teapot, and then the little girl goes back into the room and sees the broken pieces. And this is her collecting the broken pieces of pottery to explain to mom what happened.
See, I tell you what, your dab hand up with teddy bears, they're infectiously cute. They are infectiously cute. Have you still go on, Steve? Random question: have you still got your teddy?
Those teddy bears? Yeah, actually, they're sitting right over here. Actually,
is one of them your childhood teddies? What I'm asking.
Oh no, these were actually from Goodwill that I bought from a thrift store.
Oh, right.
And this is where I started to experiment with, where illustrators would actually leave out everything except for the main part,
Vignetting. I like that. Is that's almost like it's like a vignette tableau. Keep going.
Dean Cornwell was one of the ones. He's one of my favorites, and I just have studied his composition skills and everything, how he would do things. He was a master, and he wasn't Howard Pyle. Well, anyway, I could go into the history of illustration. Howard Pyle was actually the one that started it. N.C. Wyeth was one of his first students. Then from N.C. Wyeth came a few others, and then Dean Cornwell learned from them. Anyway, vignetting was to eliminate everything that wasn't important to the scene. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we like that because the use of negative space puts the narrative dead center positive space, doesn't it? It's almost like that white infinity. It frames the storytelling, and because you've got warmth in it, we cling to it like the rock in a sea of white chaos. Like that.
Well, see, the artist is directing you. I'm directing you what I want you to see. There's other ways to do it. You can break the plane of the picture. And Cornwell, I learned from doing that. He would actually show enlargements of pottery or posts or whatever, but it would actually allow you to enter into the scene. If it wasn't there, you would be on the outside. But now, because he's broken the plane and allowed you to enter in, you're there with that, whatever it is.
It's an invitation.
Yeah, an invitation.
We use this one on the banner ad for the show tonight.
Oh.
And we posted it at breakneck speed this morning before we had to dash off to the Middle Kingdom, but we're determined to post this, and we blended it with our normal banner ad template for the 5 pillars of storytelling. Tell us about this. More of this planar infinity negative space composition to focus on the narrative. We think it is beautiful. We're into black and white art at the moment, but not a big surprise, Steve, because we're very much a noir and black and white movie fan. Betty Davis, Cagney, Bogart, etc. Tell us about this, please.
This is where she walks in. Mom comes into the room. And you got to remember, this was all done as a rough sketch. So no figures or anything. It was all done in my head. And then I knew what I wanted. So what I did is I asked her, actually, after when I asked Mom and the daughter, and I can't recall their name, Priscilla and her daughter's name, I don't recall. I said, would you pose for this artwork for this book? And so what I did is I took all my sketches to their house and took my iPad and shot like 200 photographs. Anyway, back to this picture. This is where she is taking the book and setting it on the broken shards of pottery to make it appear that the teapot is broken. Okay. And this is where there's a part of the book talks about the stuffed animals being shocked. So you can see that some of them are falling over like they're shocked. Winnie the Pooh has got a surprised look on his face. One thing. Notice the bunny rabbit and the other rabbit that's laying down. Notice how they've broken that plane.
Yes. Go on.
So that allows you to now come in because you can now enter into that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, almost like a standout, which breaks the fourth wall. Got you.
Because the rest of it, you can't enter in. It's already described, but those two allowing you a way in and a way out.
So those are invites, aren't they? They give you permission to be in the scene.
Yeah, this was fun because I wanted to do the perspective, the perspective on this. The what's it called when you're doing figure that's like that. Anyway, so I stood up on a chair and took the photograph, but it was tough to get this to work.
Like a third person perspective, because she's actually in it, or as opposed to if she was out of it, it'd be first person and you'd be the view of the scene. But
Right.
you're like in computer games, they have a character wandering about and you're following the character, and all you can see is the character's back and the backside and the back of the legs and heels. Yeah. So that's like a kind of third person computer game in the sense that you're watching them, watching their reality. So there's your reality of watching them and their reality of what they're watching.
This was one of the funner pieces too. And I did go to charcoal because I needed to speed it up. It was taking so long.
Charcoal.
I mean, you're looking at 3 years worth of work because see, there's a lot of other stuff that I have to do to keep our rent low here. I have to do a lot of maintenance and stuff like that. So it took 3 years to get to this point. So that's why I went to charcoal on probably about 5 drawings in the book. The book is 16 pages long, 16 illustrations, and 5 of them I think are in charcoal.
I have to say you've done a great job on the wooden flooring here with the charcoal. Most impressive.
With the shade, with the light, you mean, that's reflecting
Well,
off of it?
the reflective light, the sense of all the different floorboards and that. I mean, that's subtle, sweeping, textured stuff, and the reflective lighting and that we like.
This one, what you're talking about, I was in the zone.
You can tell
everything was working. I mean, everything was working. It was just like everything was there, you know?
Yes. Yeah, you can tell it's become its own living reality, as how we describe that. Love it. The teddy bears invite you in. She's watching the reality. You've got those waxed wooden floors. I think is that a record player on the shelf there?
Oh. Yeah, that one was the TV. Yeah, on the shelf. Yeah.
Hey, as a vinyl person, never mind your Spotify and your and your CDs. Like the vinyls, big art, gateway sleeves, lyric sleeves, all of that.
Go ahead.
Go on, I'm listening. We're listening. Back, go on.
That was actually the musician, her father, that I did the album cover for. That was his turntable.
Right. So his father commissioned you for the album cover. That's
right, because he saw what I did with the other stuff. This one, like I said, being in the zone, and you can tell in artwork, at least I can tell when I've stressed. Can't you see an artist that's been stressed out to do the artwork, or that's running free through it because there's an ease, a simplicity, a lack of work. You can tell that it's just a minor bit of work, just a touch, a finesse.
The legs get heavy.
Yeah.
Like with football teams under duress, the old manager they're quite happy about because there's love and intimacy in the camp. Everybody's happy with their job. But a new guy comes in, he barks a bit too much. The effort's still there, but the energy is drained from the legs. And sometimes if you've got a lot going on in your head, it's almost like, what do you call it? Tidy mind, tidy environment, you can create tidy art. Yeah. And if you've got chaos in your environment, can you get to that drawing board? It's almost like Atlas and the earth on your shoulders,
Yeah, right.
Sisyphus pushing the boulder, and you think, if only I could get to that destination, I can then draw. But of course, you have to warp reality to your intention and your desire, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us about this one. This one looks well.
Okay.
You tell us
again, huh?
You tell us this looks beautiful.
Well, this is the next page beyond that first one that we saw where she's playing with the milk cart or the milk truck or whatever. And this is still the conversation between them. So basically, this is where mom's asking for the help. This was groundbreaking for me because I got very at ease with pastels, where I was more a colored pencil artist, but I started to experiment with pastels and a watercolor wash. Actually, one of my partner in the studio at gallery was a fantastic watercolor artist, And I used to watch her do a glaze with watercolor. It was amazing how she could pull it off. And
glazes.
Yeah. And so I used that technique as an underpainting and then did pastel on top of it. So my process is watercolor underpainting.
Glaze, yeah. Underpainting.
With that?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah. So you've got your, underpainting with the watercolor like a glaze. Yeah.
Watercolor underpainting. And an underpainting was typical of any artists, any of the masters would always do an underpainting. They would do it in a really dark tones and stuff like that. Anyway, I use watercolor. I have discovered acrylic ink, which is really nice to use because you can actually really water it down. Anyway, then once I've established, okay, the drawing's already done. Okay, the line drawing's already done, or it's already done. Everything, I know what I'm doing. Everything, know where everything goes. Okay, in the value study and the color study. Then I go to the finished piece. I'll lay the underpainting down in a watercolor. Then I'll add to it with a hard pastel pencil.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will take and go with watercolor pastels, or not watercolor pencils, and touch it up with that. And then it's a process of using colored pencils. And then at the end is when I go to the really soft pastels. And that's where I finesse the top of it. With that color, that intense color, I just touch it in spaces and it just puts it all together.
Oh, yes. Like anchor points, unifying it. Yeah. Just putting the weight here and there to create. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can see just now and again, the certain bits of it are just are rooted, grounded.
Notice the little dog. You can see on the leg of the wheels.
Yes.
The more intense pastel.
Notice.
Yeah, by her arm and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. You enjoy it?
Yeah. Somebody said something. Yeah.
It looks like you enjoyed it.
I did. This was fun. This was a tough piece because I learned so much on it.
Yeah. You've got a lot of moving pieces here. You've got chairs, you've got a rug, you've got the going from the rug to is it parquet flooring or wooden flooring?
Yeah.
Then you've got all the toys. You've got the blanket over her legs and that. You've got the narrative, the conversation between the mother and the daughter. Yeah, the rocking chair, and you're going all the way around.
And then notice how the stuffed animal or the girl or the lady with the butter churn, she's the one that allows you to come in because she's not complete. If she were complete, that would mean you're standing outside, but she's not. She's allowed you to come in.
So it's that translucent planar that you're kind of you're halfway in the journey of coming in. It's like you're coming into the scene. You've been invited into the scene. You're in visual transit, Steve.
Yeah. Now, see, if she was complete and you saw her complete, that means stay out.
Yes.
It's done. It's done. It's finished. You can't come in. But now, because you're already past her, you can enter into the rest of the scene.
So technically, this is a breakthrough piece for you. Technically, you learn so much as an illustrator.
Yeah.
In terms of selling the story, but you've got to have the right technical skills placed at the right point to make the eye to invite you in, but also travel the eye around the story between mother and daughter.
This was the second page. That other one that was just where you were at. That was the second page in the book that I did, but I think it was the first page in the book. I think they switched them all around. But anyway,
it's a beauty. You can tell you enjoyed working that one. That's a beauty. Yeah. It's the more you look, the more you see, and that's the right kind. That's the kind of illustration you want to see. The more you look, the more you see.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this one, Steve.
Okay. Again, notice I did the vignetting. I didn't do it as extensive as I did on the others, but see how the cats are coming around. Okay, this one, the main line to this was mom and the daughter are preparing for the Christmas tea. And there was a line in I think there was maybe about 3 sentences to this, maybe 4. But it spoke of the cats playing. They were doing this work while the cats played. So notice the shape of the cats. Notice that L shape.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite things you use in composition. It's very orderly. It's structured. So those form an L there. And the cats actually draw you in. They invite you into the picture. I mean, I think one of the sketches just showed the cats around their feet, but I thought, no, I want to focus on the cats because they're part of the scene, and that's a very friendly thing. You know, kittens. Everybody likes kittens. You know, so
the one danger you can have with vignettes is that they just become a generalized effect called a vignette. And what we like about what you're doing is you use vignettes in a very orderly way to break the fourth wall, the planar, to invite the viewer, appreciator, reader in to the scene. You do it in a way that invites, but it's still got a sense of purpose and design, composition and structure.
Now, back to the L. There's an L formed by the cats, but notice the mother. She forms an L as well.
Yes. 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 I have to say, do like the hairstyle there, the ringlets on the young lady. She's got, I think her mum's taught her how to do her hair there. And was she playing around with some butter? She helping her mum bake a cake?
Yeah. Well, I think they were doing tea or scones or something, but yeah, they were making something, but yeah.
But it's whether it's a hairstyle or the fur on the cats or on the mum in the background, an L shape. It's just those little bits of charming attentions to detail, that bit of luster, that bit of character. I mean, what you see in manga characters, they go for the big hair, don't they? In the manga characters, yeah, because hair is personality. Big eyes, that's the soul. That's the window to the soul, isn't it? Go on.
And that's what they try to get with the manga and stuff like that. Notice the colors too. I mean, it's all warm except for her apron is blue, the green of the spider plants, which are hanging in the barn, and the blue of the milk carton. So you've got mostly warm colors happening, but the cool colors kind of give you balance.
Yes, color balance. That is something to be aware of. Yeah, we can see it. It's there, the blue, like that, diagonally. You know, you've got that color balance. One there with the mum, the milk jug there. Sorry, the milk.
It forms a triangle. Yeah,
it forms a triangle. Yeah, I mean, forming a triangle, and it also triangles can be, even though this is a gentle scene, triangles add compositional dynamism, don't they? Yeah. Right then, tell us about this one. This one's intriguing. We've got scrolls. Tell us more.
This was as my time at the gallery was going away, and this was one of the first set of pastel pencils that I bought, and I was amazed at what I could do with them. I was using colored pencils before, but these are so much the pastel pencils, and this was only the name escapes me right now, but a fairly common brand of pastel pencils. I'm using different ones now, but and this is a reference photograph that I saw. So this just shows my demo. I have the ability to draw what I see. So yeah. So
pastels. How do you find working pastels? Like them?
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
I tried a few times, haven't really kind of mastered them. When you say, are they sticks of pure pastel, or are they kind of like pastel pencils? How's that working for you?
Well, these are they're actual pencils. There's a set that I want to get that you can't. I've been trying to order them. Steinlager. anyway, they're the high tone pastel pencils. But okay, this is how I work with pastels. To begin with, okay, I've already done the sketch, so I know where everything's going, right? So I transfer the sketch, and I always use a grid. I never trace the sketch because I don't want it to be locked in. I use a grid to transfer my sketch to the board, and that was done on pastel board, which I would highly recommend. Amsterdam makes a pastel board that's really good. Anyway, to get the colors to where I can really feel them, I will take an X-Acto knife and I will shave I never use a pencil sharpener for one thing, as a side note. But anyway.
Really? Use the scalpel, yeah?
Yeah, I use a palette knife. Or an X-Acto knife, X-Acto knife. So what I do is I take the color off of this pastel pencil and I shave it and put it in a little dish.
Yeah.
And I brush it on. And once I'm satisfied with what it looks like by brushing it on, that's when I'll take the pencil and apply it. I never let go of that brush, though, because even a cheap watercolor brush, you can manipulate that pastel. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
The biggest problem I would have with pastels is being heavy-handed with them. I'm very gentle, very gentle.
You have to be so gentle with them, don't you? Almost stroking.
I'm very slow with them. I'm very slow with them, very gentle. I take and shave them into a powder and apply them with that brush. That way, if it doesn't work, I can take them off.
Got you.
Yeah.
In a sense, you're blocking in with pastel, and then you apply the finesse on top.
Right.
Now I hear you. That would suit us better working like that with pastels, because when you get those pastel sticks, like chalk blocks, and it just it feels like we're trying to make marks with a brick.
See, that's the thing. It can, and so those really soft pastels, once you get to the zone, once you get to that place where there's no apprehension, where you just feel free, you take and just touch it. Just touch it in certain spots, because you've already established everything. Now you're just taking like say you've got oil paint and you're just taking a little dab.
Okay.
I call it the finesse, or it's finesse. The finished touch.
Yes. Finished touch. It's having that finesse, whether you're dealing with watercolors, oils, or pencils. It's to get that level of pressure just right. It is finesse, and the patience and the desire
to get it through. And it's going to take patience, because you don't want to jump before. You got to back off, just slowly approach it. Yeah,
you just got to back off a bit. I understand. We understand that it's something we have upon occasion wrestled with. Tell us about the fox, our fear.
Well, actually, this was redone too. I don't know if you have a copy of the redone one, which is fine if you don't. This one was the first song children's book that I did, and this is where the fox will encounter the princess, and this is where he leaves his home. And the Hobbit was big, well, it still is, so I just played around with ideas like that and sketched something, got really loose. Oh, side note, I don't know if you've heard of Frank Frazetta.
Of course.
Yeah, the cover book
artist.
Okay, yeah. And so I've always been, he was like foundational for me in 7th grade, 8th grade, going to a parochial school. But then I discovered Frazetta and his women and all this incredible stuff. So I try to hit his style. If you ever study what he did, how he could paint a cover in 2 days, is amazing. But he used certain techniques that he just kept redoing. Anyway, so maybe that's some of this here. This design was done at the coffee bar at Barnes and Nobles while I was having tea. This not the finished one, but the idea was. So I wanted a fox leaving the forest out of a hobbit house. So I just had fun and played with it.
I'll tell you what, it's having that foundational skill to do designs, and then having enough drawing skills to observe to get the idea down, and then having the creative efficiency, like Frazetta, to do something in 2 days. Yeah. Tried and tested techniques, but as long as the ideas are fresh. I mean, like a guitarist might have the signature sound, Clapton, Brian May, Jeff Beck, Rope Plant, but there's certain things they depend on, but also put in occasional new bits along with the, shall I say, established sound riffs.
Side note, and I'll be real quick with this, but I think you'll find it interesting. The area we live in is in Central California, Atascadero. It's small. What happened?
That's just me.
I get too long.
We get notices from our email. We should actually find a way to mute those while on a live show.
Oh, should I stop or?
No, keep going. No, we just sometimes when an email comes in, it just pops.
Okay. Back in the 70s.
In
the 1970s, there was a killing where the National Guard killed 4 students at Kent State during I don't know if you heard of it, but they were protesting, and the National Guard, somehow something went off and somebody fired shots and they killed 4 of the students.
Got you.
There was a song written by Neil Young, who was then a member of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, called, the name escapes me, but it was about the murder at Kent State. He owns a ranch somewhere around here because he's been seen around here. Neil Young has. And according to, what was it? Crosby, Stills, David Crosby. Yeah, David Crosby calls Crosby, Stills, Graham Nash, and says, get the band together. We have to record this song, because Neil just went out in the hills in Atascadero, which is where we live, and wrote a song, and he did it in a couple of hours and came back. And he played this one song, and I cannot remember the name of it. Dang it. It was about,
Go on, keep going.
Anyway, and he did it so fast because the emotion was so fresh in him that he took these musical tools that he had and put it all together.
Neil Young.
Yeah. You never heard of him? Or
yes. We like the one where he really goes for it and really leathers the guitar. It doesn't come to me right now, the actual name of it, but boy, when he got going on the guitar, he could really get going.
Oh yeah, no, he was good. Yeah. Well, he was also with Buffalo Springfield, which is him and Stephen Stills, and then the other members way back when. But this one, and I don't know why I took off on that tangent, but just to show you that when you're in the zone, whether because of emotions or whatever, you can just
you can just go, can't you?
Yeah.
And it's surprising how much quicker it comes. Time doesn't matter, and the workflows, and you're happy with what's happening. It's just one part leads to another. It's like, I don't know. It's just divine inspiration.
It is. Yeah.
Go on. Tell us about this crafty fox.
This guy here. This one here is, again, back to the Princess and the Fox. This was done in my shed before I had the barn. And this is when I first started doing it. Yeah. And that's our bed at home. And I didn't actually get a fox to put in it, but I just, the sketch, you don't see the sketch that I had, but the sketch I just worked out of my head. And then I use reference images and stuff like that. And again, I have the ability to draw what I see. So I was able to put a fox in our bed. This is where he wakes up from his dreams, doesn't know why he's scared of princesses and what scares him. he is afraid that she wants to pull his tail. That's what he's afraid of. Yeah.
Yes, I tell you what, we like the way, we like the way you can put those interlocking compositional pieces together to create something with charm and a narrative. Yeah, that's what an illustrator does. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And there's a it's fun to do because basically I've got these words that are my direction, but they leave me free to play around with the words.
It's great that you have that freedom to play with the words.
Yeah.
He's a charming, crafty fox. You have to be. I can understand why he's worried. Moving swiftly on, though, on that subject. What's happening here? Is she?
This is the princess, and she has dreams about a fox too. And she's afraid of foxes. Notice she can't go to sleep. This piece here was very almost no representation. This was almost entirely out of my head.
Wow.
Yeah. This was a lot of being in the zone, I'll tell you. I borrowed from Dean Cornwell with that chair in the corner. See the chair in the corner, how it points you right to her?
Yes. Oh, got you. Yeah. It's leading your eye along the diagonal, isn't it? It's very strong.
And the broomstick is keeping you from leaving the scene.
You can't leave the scene. That's that's the barrier from you exiting the scene. Very good.
Right. And notice that chest or whatever down there is pointing you right to her too.
Yes. Like that. And, chest, like that.
Yeah.
And she's at the intersection of that composition. Yeah.
I would really recommend one of my biggest, I did take some classes at junior colleges and stuff like that, but one of the biggest things, other than the other artists in the gallery who do stuff that I don't do, was studying the illustrators, especially the early illustrators, so the N.C. Wyeth and the ones after that, Dean Cornwell, Len Decker.
Like Andrew Loomis, was it Rockwell and people like that?
Yeah, Loomis was even after Dean Cornwell, or about the time of. Yeah. Len Decker was actually one of the ones that taught Rockwell. Rockwell studied under Len Decker. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that you'll look at Len Decker's, and the guy was just a master at what he could do. He had a brother that was good too, but for some reason didn't get the breaks that he did. Anyway, if you'll study, take one of their.
You say the one guy, Len Decker. Is that your man?
Len Decker, yeah. Huh?
You would say he's the guy.
He's one of them. But N.C. Wyeth is one of them. And anyway, so let's say Dean Cornwell. You get a book on him, or go to Pinterest and look at their artwork, and just hold it in front of you and ask them and explore what they did and why they did it.
Got you.
And you'll see it. You'll see, okay, why is this here? Why is this not here? Because that's all designed by the artist. They may use models, but they're not in bondage to the model or how well they can represent the model.
They're not a slave to the reference.
Yeah? Exactly. And we can, and being a slave to the reference is a good way to get people to go, ooh, you're really good.
And then you're in the comfort zone.
And you stay there.
Yeah. So you're good at drawing that picture of Muhammad Ali, but you never really go beyond it.
Or you do pictures of these fantasy houses with the sunlight going through them and all this stuff, and you keep doing over and over and over. You just change them a little bit, and you make money. But are you ever really satisfied as an artist? I don't know. Maybe he was. I don't know. Died of alcoholism, I thought, or something. Anyway.
Yes. Maybe not that satisfied if that was the case. Tell us about this one. We have a meeting.
This is the second page after they encounter each other in the forest. Remember the one where she's in the back and the fox is over here? So now they're analyzing each other. They're looking closer to see if there's anything really to be afraid of. And then they discover one of the verses in the book or the song is that they look close and they discover there's really nothing to be afraid of. If we look at the source of our fear, we may discover there's really nothing to be afraid of there.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. We had that kind of epiphany of serendipity today, and while we're at the Japan Fest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we won't. Yeah. We can't go into it, but we had a photograph of one thing on a phone that popped up, and then we were experiencing the culture from a less disenfranchised place by seeing all these happy people there at this Japan Fest, and we're thinking, you know what? Eyes of hope, always courage, eyes of hope, different people, new opportunities, new experiences. Yeah, like you, every day you go to that beach. Depends what the weather is. A different way to connect with nature and be inspired by the God-given sun and Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And today, it felt a little bit like that for us, where we thought we get to the point where we really want to get to that art board. Before we go further about the planar depth cueing here, like a focus f-stop on a camera that you've got going here with the foreground with the characters, then the next ground, then it gets misty, and you get the depth hazing as you go into the picture. Yeah, we're going into that misty horizon. Our intrigue and curiosity wants us down there. Before we get that, earlier, I wanted to ask you about Procreate. How are you finding that as an artist with battle-tested tradition and real-world media? How has there been an internal battle going over to Procreate, which we consider Star Trek technology, because it's like an entire art shop in your hands? You don't have to get linseed oil. You don't have to get terps in your fingernails, cracking your fingerprints on your fingerprints coming apart.
Yeah.
And you don't get the smell. You're not waiting days for oil paints to dry, although obviously with acrylics, kind of like oil paints, but they're faster drying. How have you found that internal chatter between Procreate and traditional media for yourself?
My experience with Procreate, I don't get into it. Actually, for these scenes that I'm working on now, I wanted to try to do them in Procreate, but they're such big scenes that it was hard for me to do them on this small screen, the iPad screen. But okay, back to what you're saying.
Would you be happier with an iPad that wasn't just 13 inches? Because to me, we still think 13 inches in terms of a tablet. It isn't big enough yet. Maybe 17 might be getting there. 21, 24 inches might be there. What do you? So continue what you're saying.
Okay. The thing, because I have worked on Procreate, and the only thing I use Procreate for really is just to finesse my sketches if I download them onto Procreate, and I can go in and I can correct them. One advantage that I have with Procreate is I can set up the perspective grid and then do my sketches on top of that. I found that really to an advantage. Digital artwork, and I'll be honest about it, I do feel that there's a little plastic to it. I feel there's a plastic look to it. Yeah. And that's why I think if I were ever to, when I teach somebody and they're doing Procreate and there's a lot of ways you can promote your artwork. Anyway, I always tell them, work on your drawing skills and then download it into Procreate. But I know a lot of people just build totally off of Procreate. I had one guy that came in when I was at the gallery. I used to talk to a lot of people. As you can tell, I like to talk. And he was a incredible artist on Photoshop. He could do these things that were just incredible. But he wanted me to show him how to draw. He says, I can't draw. And I helped him a little bit, and then I had to leave. The rent got more than I could afford. So anyway.
So go, keep going.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not that adept at Procreate, really.
But you're foundational because you've got pencil mastery that he was looking for.
Yeah.
And he would probably have loved the pencil master you had, and then dropping in the digital stuff around it, almost like working hybrid, pencil digital. Just we call it that soul touch.
Yeah.
You just don't get it with a digital pencil, and we suspect you never will. So to us, if we were going to draw an indie comic, folks, it says looking oily into the green light, we'd probably have to have real pencil work in it. Just saying.
Yeah.
And if there's any other digital aspects, they will be like an augment to the pencil art. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a freedom with the pencil art, the exploration of the sketch, the channel, I don't know if it's channeling, the ability to have it in your brain, to put it in your hand, to put it on paper. Yeah. I think you somehow lose that, and you can't do that on a digital screen.
It's so immediate. It's so personal. Mm-hmm. It's so intimate.
Yeah.
Pencil and a paper. We just don't, as much as we love the iPad and Procreate, we don't see how you can get that intimacy where you've got glass as a barrier to the canvas and a rubber pencil. You know what I mean? As good as the Apple Pencil is.
As good as they're going to make them either. I mean, I don't think you're going to have that contact that you can have. I think it's because it's being manipulated by a machine, even after I lay the lines on it, where to me it's a very personal thing with the paper. I can touch it, I can do what I'm doing and all that stuff, and relay what's in here through my hand on this physical thing.
Yeah, on a Procreate and an iPad, what have you got? Let's count the barriers, right? You've got the human touch right here, yeah? Then you've got the glass, then you've got some software, then you've got the machine, right? And then eventually you've got something called a theoretical digital canvas, yeah?
Right,
That's still a lot of barriers, whereas if you got the hand, you basically got a pencil and a piece of paper. As soon as that pencil hits the paper, it's contact. It's still human, and it relates to our sense of touch, smell. Even the way you look at a piece of paper versus looking at a piece of glass, one is synthetic and one is real.
Right.
Simple.
Right. And it's this connection. That's why when I was teaching and have taught, I try to develop the drawing what you see, because it's a way to strengthen the hand-eye coordination, to where my mind, my eye is referring directly to telling my hand what to do, what I feel, and I'm able to put it on paper. Absolutely. And that's why a sketchbook is in a crowd is a great thing to do, because eventually, and you're going to be able to draw somebody without them knowing you're drawing them.
Exactly.
And the way the way to do that is to store that image in your brain, because they're not going to stop for you, but your eye can catch that image, and you can outline it really rough in just a quick sketch, but you'll store that image in your brain and you can build the rest of it.
Gotcha.
See what I mean? Yeah.
See what you mean.
Yeah.
Now, we like the way you've depth hazed, f-stopped your camera, your art camera, to create that hazy path through the forest, this intrigue. You happy with the result?
Well, that was already, I did that with the page, with the I didn't do it with my camera. That the page was drawn like that. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's what we're getting at there, that you've almost got like the technique of the f-stop on the camera, you know, where they actually use the focused and depth of blur, depth of vision, to actually, as a mechanical skill, to create that blurred photography. You either focus on the foreground, don't you, or you invert it and you focus on the background, bringing clarity to the foreground. And we like what we've done here. We've got clarity on the foreground, and then it's almost like the background slightly blurred as you go through, and you've got that that kind of atmospheric haze towards your theoretical horizon.
Now, do you see the heart that's formed in between them?
Ah, yes. Now we see it. Ah, yes. Using the tree branch as stealth.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the way I pulled that off on the back with the trees, like you were talking, is a piece of chamois. Have you ever used chamois in pastel?
Nope.
You know, like you wax cars with a piece of chamois.
Oh yes, chamois.
Yeah, yeah. And you can actually knock the tone off, or you can use a brush. And there's two types of brushes. Use a stiff brush will give you a different look than a soft brush.
Gotcha.
And you go over pastel and you can just move it. And what's really neat is combining that with charcoal or whatever, and that brush will kind of just do an airbrush look.
Okay, then it's almost like the airbrush look, with a bit of chamois, or a kind of soft brush or a hard brush. You can get that Gaussian blur effect. Some people use Gaussian blur. Tour de force in Photoshop, but you can create a pseudo Gaussian blur effect with a chamois and a soft brush, that airbrush effect, which softens and gives you that atmospheric haze. What's your favorite combo? Is it a bit of pastel, bit of charcoal, bit of coloring pencil with a watercolor base? Is that kind of like a Steve combo, 3 or 4 stage combo?
Yeah, that's where I am now. I've got pages of notes because I try to write down everything I'm doing as I'm doing it so I can recreate it. And
later
basically,
on,
if that were my process, is this: for the Bible scene that I'm working on, I know what I want to see. I know how it speaks to me what's there. So I start with sketches. There's one thing I don't know if you saw that one with the video where it shows all those figures on the board.
Yes,
that's
at one or two of your videos.
Yeah, that's all my sketches to arrive at the idea. Then I start to put them together. First, I do them in pencil or charcoal, wherever I'm feeling. Then the next step is to do a line drawing. You do 2 things. You do a volume study, which is a line drawing, a gray, all in pencil or black and white, and then a color study before you do the final piece. I transfer my sketch using a grid. And I learned this from another artist. We spoke about it. And as a guy I've known for years, he said, because he used to see the way I would trace my sketch onto the board by using charcoal underneath and almost a carbon paper thing. He said, why don't you use a grid? Because he said it stays fresh. If you're tracing using charcoal, you're staying in the same page.
Got you.
But a grid is still new, it's still fresh. Even though you're transferring an image, it remains fresh.
It's live.
Yeah.
It could go anywhere. It's live. Is that tension of it being live? It's almost like action. The movie's playing until somebody says cut, and that's the take.
Right. So I do that. I transfer the drawing, then I'll do the watercolor wash. And I'm starting to use, like I said, acrylic ink as far as my wash. And then I just start with the pastel pencils. I'll go to a watercolor pencil, which will give you a different look without using water. Just the nature of the pencil itself will give you a different look.
Yeah.
Then
almost like a crispness, a crisp bleed, we call it.
Right. Well, right, because the pastel pencil is kind of loose. And I'll play with it with the brushes and stuff like that, or the hard brushes or whatever. And then, like I said, and then I'll go to colored pencil. Then I'll do the soft pastels, the Steinlager, whatever their name is. They're just really vibrant colors. And then one thing I forgot to mention, for the last thing, right at the end, Prismacolor has very thin colored pencils. Have you heard of them, or have you used them?
Yeah, because they've become very popular, Prismacolor pencils.
Okay.
But we used when we were going to our art course.
Yeah.
We used Beryl Charisma, and you can't get them these days. Beryl Charisma. They weren't watercolors, but pencils. But they were coloring pencils. Absolutely gorgeous set, and we accidentally left them behind when the dorm rooms at college had to be cleared, and we were in a rush, and we left them. And, still haunts me, haunts us now. Those 72 pencil Christmas set, because our mother gave us the money to actually buy them, and the look of disappointment in her face. It's just wanted the ground to open us up. That might be one of the reasons why we don't sleep well at night.
Yeah.
But go and continue. Tell us about Prisma.
Yeah. But anyway, with the very thin, then I finish off. I don't know if you'll see on this drawing, there's some of the lines I complete them.
The drapery?
Yeah, or the trees or whatever, just to give that little touch right to the end of them.
Yeah, just little points of crisp finish, just to give it that touch. You can leave some of it slightly looser, but you just need that on the heart, just enough to lock it in,
right, just to give you like here down at the bottom, it's got those little limbs going through. Anyway, just that,
and on the fox too, and just that bit of foliage here and there, and on the bark on the trees. Yeah. Tell us more.
Oh, this is the princess. She is wondering why she's afraid of foxes. Again, back to our bed at home. I'm using that. This in the background, see the headboard?
Good job on that.
The brown. Alfonso Musha was one of the ones, again, another artist that I love. The pre-Raphaelite, or not pre-Raphaelite, what was his? It was the style that he used. It was Art Deco or Art Nouveau.
Art Deco. It looks to us.
No, he was Art Nouveau. He was Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau, that's the one. Yeah, Art Nouveau. Before Art Nouveau came before Art Deco. Yeah,
it did. Art Deco is more hard line, geometric. Art Nouveau is more flourishes and flowery, and and Alfonso Musha, it's really sad because the poor guy dies in a prison because when Hitler, anyway, long story, because he was Hungarian and all that stuff. Anyway, or was it Austrian or Hungarian? I don't know. But anyway, that was my touch with the Art Nouveau, his sort of thing with the background.
Art Nouveau. It is a very elegant style, to me, and that would be one of the eras, along with Art Deco, that would probably influence us if we were to do a project in the near future.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is just her wondering about, foxes and fear of foxes, and is she going to run into them, and it's keeping her up, so she's busy thinking about that. So.
Busy bee thinking there.
Yeah.
Right then, what's happening here? Is this another mother-daughter chat?
This page didn't get in the book.
Did it not?
No, the author felt that it was too maybe a little hard line, because this is where the mother is looking down on the daughter for taking the teapot. This is after she comes down the stairs. The encounter happens. This one here was a tough one. I learned a lot on this one. Again, I did the vignette thing, but
you did,
but
plain old vignette, plain old vignette.
Yeah, but see the bottom and everything. But this was tough because to make this work, I had to move things around and pick up figures and move them, and there was a glass table, so that was critical to catch that blind with the glass.
We see it now. Yes.
Yeah,
we see it.
And to catch her, and I forget her name, that posed for me, and with her mother. But it was really a shame because this was a lot of work and it didn't make the book.
Well, to me, that's consequential narrative, isn't it? It's the punchline to something you've been building up to, yeah? So that really should be in the book. And the hard edges are important. Why? because this is a hard scene between mother and daughter. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to have the mother-daughter chat about who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
When we say the teapot's not to be used, it's not to be used. You know what I mean? It's a little detail, but you know, it's about trust in a relationship.
Now, see how the teapot is right there in front of her to show her it's not broken, because she was afraid that it had been broken. But she's showing her, I played a trick on you to prove to you. And the last page, I don't know if you have the last page where they embrace. I don't know if I sent that to you or.
Well, let's have a little look. I tell you what, we love that. This should be included in the book.
Okay.
Maybe in the expanded edition later when they realize the error of their ways.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Okay. Back to the princess.
Go on.
This is one of the first pages for that song book. That, by the way, never got published. But anyway, this is where she shows that she's fearless. Nothing bothers her. She can do whatever she wants. She's a princess after all, except for her fear of foxes. This is to show that nothing scares her except for foxes.
Gotcha. Hey, we've all got our thing. For me, for us, it's heights. What's your thing that you're not too keen on? Is it the red spider with the red mark on its belly?
What's that? I'm sorry, what?
For us, it's heights. For her, it's foxes. What's your secret fear?
Me?
You don't have to say if you don't want to.
Oh, my secret fear. You know, yeah, I'm kind of glad I've met my fears. I've lost everything that I thought was worth anything and found out it really wasn't worth anything.
God bless you.
I found that the thing that I feared the most, any anxieties, by experiencing them, by walking through these anxieties or these anxious thoughts, I found that they're not real.
Yes.
They're not there.
Echoes.
It's actually like the princess and the fox, Encounter of the Fox. You look into the face of what scares you the most. Yeah. You've got to encounter it, and you'll see that it isn't that big of a deal. So what's my biggest fear? I don't want to lose the barn. I don't want to leave this path that I have. But if it's determined that I'm supposed to leave this path, I've gone through that before, and everything has turned out fine. Because you know what? That beach is still there. I can still walk on that beach.
Absolutely.
The morning sun will still come up. That bird that I see in the air will still talk to me. Or that sunlight will still, shine on that flower over there. And I can catch the way that drop of dew is still on that flower. I can look close at that, or I can look at the bee. I can still do that.
Yes.
And that's what's important. So I think fear comes from holding things up or making them more important than they actually are.
Human possessions.
Yeah.
As opposed to nature's gifts.
Yeah. Because I've lost it all. You know what? When I found out about the affair and everything that was going on, and again, I'm not blameless. Okay, I was just never caught. But when I found out about the affair and realized that it was like out of a country song, I packed my truck and went to live with my brother on a ranch. And I did. It was something out of George Strait or something. But anyway, when I did that and left everything, I found out I had everything. It isn't until everything you hold dear is gone that you find out what you really got.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much so. There's redemption in what you're saying. We would say amen to that, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will I like Stephen Johnson? Who are you for? Who's your target audience, Steve?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
You have one?
I don't know if I do have one. Because you got to understand, if you were to visit. Anyway, I live in a place that there's there's a lot of people moving in because the wineries are all moving here and everything. There's money in wine, but this is pretty much still a kind of a country town. Yeah. And so my target audience, I don't know. I'd like to get more of an income so I don't have to be a greeter at Walmart. But if I do, I do.
Could you deploy your, well, let's say, significant battle-tested and vast battery of experience to indie comic variants? Because we're looking at this particular profile picture here, which has almost like a beautiful Medusa stare. We're looking at some other bits of planar invite you into the scene storytelling. One thing comics do like doing is breaking the fourth wall, particularly with a John Byrne inspired run of She-Hulk. She broke the fourth wall in terms of speaking to the reader. So, and you know, you've got crowdfunders, Fund My Comic, you've got Kickstarter, you've got Indiegogo. I mean, maybe the indie comic variant, there's a thing that's quite big, Steve, in the indie comics. It's not just the main cover, but the variants. And and maybe those variants, for example, John's long box, he likes your art style, he says. Maybe a variant cover of his next comic, Heroic Tales issue 3. Or he's going to be doing the main character, what's his name, in purple and gold and white. Oh, my mind's just gone blank at the minute.
Something about a dog, he said, or something, or about a crypto carrier, like Superman's dog or something. I don't know.
Well, the fact is, you've got all the experience to do anything that any indie comics creator would want in terms of variant covers. Your distinct style would offer something very different, very accomplished, an artist kind of outlook, which would be nice to see as variants in indie comics. It's something for you to consider to supplement your income if that's what you're after.
Yeah, that would be that would be nice. That would be one thing. I should have sent you that Spider-Man drawing I did. Actually, I got told to buy a friend of mine works in a comic book shop, and he ordered me some blank covered comic books. Like I've got Fantastic Four #1.
The Patriarch, that's the name of his character, the Patriarch.
That's who he does. Yeah,
he's getting his own book. We could see your style working very well with the variant edition of that. Go on.
I'm trying to find.
So we give him some Spidey books, will you?
Well, the comic books with no cover, with the blank cover.
Oh,
so
sketch
I'm going to do some designs. Yeah.
Sketch covers. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do some sketch covers. Anyway, there's some really comic book artists that I really appreciate, but anyway, the one that used to do X-Men for a while is Bachalo. I don't know if you know him. Anyway,
go on. Well, the last X-Men. I tell you, we were very into Kirby, and we still are. For us, he's the light, the source. He is the seminal way for us. He is he's everything to us. And we also like John Buscema, who's got that Byrne Hogarth illustrated style. You know, the Silver Surfer, didn't he? Classically in that Dante's Inferno kind of way, John Buscema. And we also like, who's the other one we like? We actually quite like Mike Mignola's noir horror take on Kirby. We also like the manga artist Shiro Masamune, he starts off working traditional like yourself, then moved to computers, used a bit of 3D. Almost did like a kind of hybrid mashup style where you still got the pencils in there,
right?
But then he's working in a digital environment and adding to it. Yeah, so it's like this alchemy.
And I could see myself doing that if I got more adept at doing Procreate, because I've got books. I got to find time to study them, but on how to do, different techniques and everything there.
You can now plug Procreate on iPad into an external monitor to give you a bit more of a widescreen view on what you're doing. So that's maybe
yeah,
that might uncramp. You know, that sense of being cramped into a 13-inch screen. You plug it into an external Apple monitor or whatever monitor you're going to use, and all of a sudden you've got a cinema-wide screen for a touch tablet, which you're reasonably adept at. It's just maybe you're feeling confined because of the space. But a bigger external monitor that's plugged into your iPad might just free your mind in terms of thinking, right, I'm in the ocean now having a swim, as opposed to the little paddling pool.
And that maybe because I've got a monitor that I bought, and actually, and there's an addition that I can plug into my iPad that allows me to plug the HDMI cord.
Like a dongle. In there. Like a dongle, like an interface to plug that wire into the dongle to then plug into the monitor. Yeah.
Right. So is that what you mean, like that?
Yeah. So you've got the kit. It's just a matter of you plug your little pond into your Californian sea, and we think you'll go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Speaking of comic books, I don't know. I started reading comic books back in the '60s, so when Jack Kirby was like the way to go, he was everybody that Marvel hired had to draw like Jack Kirby, which at the time I didn't really appreciate until I started to look at his stuff a little bit more. The one that I always, in a side note, I don't know why I'm going here, but Gil Kane. I don't know if you've ever seen any.
Gil Kane, Mr. Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, his
elegant work. He's like Bern Hogarth.
He is.
What in comic book form?
Right. But his rendering skill was just amazing. I mean, to me, it was when he did the Spider-Man series with John Romita inking him. It was just incredible. He was the one that did when what's her name died, and I guess she's been reborn or whatever. But anyway,
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Don't get me on that, Steve.
I had that comic book. I had all the Conan the Barbarian all the way up to number 12. Mom threw them away during my drug days. I left them in the garage, and she just tossed them all. Somebody got a whole lot of comic books. I had a whole stack of them.
Lucky devil.
I had Silver Surfer all the way up, almost the entire run that John Buscema did.
Perfection.
Yeah. Jim Stencrow or whatever his name is. I guess he's still alive.
Jim Steranko. Yeah, Jim Steranko.
Yeah, his Nick Fury stuff. And then he did a Captain America series that was like amazing. Tom Palmer was a killer inker too.
Tom Palmer's very good at inking.
Yeah, he could do an incredible job. Anyway.
Remember him on Ghost Rider, very good. And I tell you what, Gil Kane, he would do those difficult upshots of the nose and the nostrils. He'd do different angles. Yeah. And his anatomy was so dynamic.
The hands were
Jack Kirby, he's the one guy that could really sell a cover.
Yeah. Other than him, the hands were perfect too. When he would do the hands, they were perfect. Yeah.
We're just looking at if we've got Black Mark on our.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you got Black Mark by Gil Kane?
No, I've seen it though. But that was what comic book publisher? That wasn't DC, was it?
1 second. We're just going to have a quick look and see if we can grab it and find out for you. Black Mark. Let's have a little look here. Oh, here it is. To me, Milner, or as the Silver Surfer would say, to me, my gleaming board.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Go big screen. Here we go. We're going in. And what we've got here is Gil Kane Black Mark, and it is by Fantagraphic Books. Fantagraphics, yeah?
Huh.
And just look at his towering triangular compositions. Just look at that. And look at the way he captures the cursive gestalt in the minimum amount of required lines. The detail just goes where it needs to be.
Well, see, that's the confidence you can see. Have you ever seen his line work? You probably have. His line, you could tell when he laid the lines down, he knew exactly what he was doing, where it was going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, if you haven't got this, Steve, let's just say we highly recommend it.
Okay, maybe what was it? Black Mark?
It's Black Mark, and we've got the 30th anniversary edition. Might be available on Amazon. Black Mark Black Mark by Gil Kane. It's all him.
Okay.
And it's by Fanta, Fanta, then Graphics Books.
Oh, Fanta. Yeah.
Fanta Graphic Books. You've probably heard them. They were kind of like a kind of lower key independent comics publisher back in the day. But I'll tell you what.
Back in the day, yeah.
Oh, yes. Just beauty. Gil Kane, he's just, I mean, and the way he draws the ladies as well, you know, he's just got the way. His Spider-Man, his Conan, his Green Lantern, his Atom, all of that.
Oh, you want to hear my comic book story?
Let's hear it.
I wanted to be, when I was going to school down in San Diego, I went to one of the comic conventions, and we're looking at 1984 maybe.
Yeah.
And I took some of my artwork down there, my pencil sketches, and talked to Denny O'Neil, who worked for DC Comics. He was like the editor. He's the one that did the Green Lantern, Green Arrow series with Neil Adams illustrating it.
Yeah, anyway, we've got that on the shelf. We've got that on the shelf. And go on.
Yeah. And that was the one that did the drug thing, and he broke a lot of lines when he did that. Anyway, I talked to him. I showed him my work, and he liked what I did. But he told me, he said, we're going to need to see a lot more. And he said, be prepared to do 3 pages a day. To me, which would have been impossible. Anyway.
3 pages a day. They'd be working the man.
I mean, one of the guys that's really sad is Wally Wood, who was like an incredible artist, but he ends up killing himself because I guess he had lung cancer. But I mean, his work was incredible. I mean, I can go old school, EC Comics. I mean, when they were doing,
pressure.
Man.
Great artists, but sometimes can you handle the pressure? I mean, people say that Jack Kirby was fast, and he was, but he put the hours in. He was working probably 12, 14-hour days to make sure his wife and his kids probably had the future and the standard of living that they wanted, you know?
Right.
And but he put the hours in there. I think it's a minimum of 12-hour days, probably more than that.
And so to be locked into doing that and just I mean, being in the zone, being in the zone all the time.
Well, Jack Kirby was a titan, but we can understand for some there might depends on you kind of whether you thrive under pressure. Some people do; they see it as good stress, but if you see it as bad stress, I mean, just a quick story. Conveyed to us by we used to go to this coal miners art class. He'd already been into art, but he did this higher national diploma for 2 years, which cemented his career post mining. So he took his redundancy and went off to college for 2 years, did a high national diploma in art illustration, actually, a word you like to use. And he said to us, you know, we knew this watercolor artist, and he liked to do layers and layers of intricate, like a pre-Raphaelite artist, For the same amount of allotted time, this cartoonist with a simple style could knock out 5 to 10 work commissions. Wow. He'd take all week, but the cartoonist would be able to do 10 commissions in the same week. And so, let's say one's getting paid, let's say 1,000, but the one's getting paid 10,000.
Right.
Just to use examples of numbers, or one's getting paid 100 and another's getting paid 1,000. Yeah. So you can only do 1 commission, you're getting 100. You can do 10 commissions, you're getting 1,000 a week. There's a big difference in income there, isn't there? But the guy who did the Renaissance style, I remember the miner telling me, he said he couldn't take it. He actually gave up because he couldn't take the fact that somebody else could get 10 times his income. He couldn't compromise his artistic integrity to simplify it to the point where perhaps he didn't feel it had the value.
I could totally understand that because basically when you do, I mean, it's a sellout. I mean, do I prostitute my work? I mean, I've had other people approach me, can you do this for me and do this? And we don't want you to, just make it simple. I can't then find an artist that can make it simple because I'm not that artist, You
don't want me. You clearly want somebody else. So why are you still talking to me?
And like I said, I've been blessed with the fact that have never gotten used to having a lot of money. I was born into a family that was hard workers, but very poor. Not very poor. We were able to eat, and everything, but not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And with all that property I told you about, remember at the beginning, the
Yeah,
family ranch and all that, hard work, and you can be
Working
land
around.
rich and cash poor,
Damn.
because yeah,
And
the
that's
land came from the ancestors down, and so it was already paid for. It wasn't like you bought it; you were paying taxes on it. But anyway. So, but I've learned to do without. It's
gotcha.
nice to have, but
Speaking of which, why
yeah.
do you create art then? And when did your journey with art begin? I mean, is this something that you've had since the age of 4 or 5? You are compelled. It's almost like a divine inspiration. You must answer this calling.
Um, that okay. So back to in front of the TV drawing comic books. I had my own superheroes and all that stuff. And as I started to get better at doing it, and I would look at going way back, the Legion of Superheroes. Remember the ones with Cosmic Boy and
Yeah,
Ultra
I love them.
Boy and
We've got their early adventures, and you've
yeah,
got people like Kurt Swan in there. You know what I mean? Love it. Go on.
yeah. So that was one of my formats, and it was, I think, Kurt Swan was the artist or whatever. Anyway, so what has made my road? At what point did I know that I was an artist? From that
Yes.
time, from that, for sure in 4th grade, when the girls really liked me drawing stuff, I'm going, whoa.
Comes in handy, that, doesn't
and
it?
I found it, and another friend of mine, a close friend of mine that lived fairly close, could draw too. So we would draw and make up superheroes and all this stuff. And I knew, because I could do what other people couldn't do, I was different. And I think an artist has to realize that there's something, again, back to that thing inside, the desire makes you different, because not all people desire to create.
No.
Whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's whatever, it separates. Yeah. And when did I realize that? Well, pretty young age, and there's been times where I've walked away from it.
Yeah.
For various reasons, but it's always there. And it fills a need that's inside of me. You can silence that need and quiet it down to where you won't hear it anymore. But it's a shame, because it's always there.
It's a shame, actually.
Yeah.
You're losing yourself. You're losing your very being. You're losing who you are.
Right.
You're losing a God-given gift to be yourself and to explore your soul journey in life. It's crushing. We mustn't give in to the dark side.
No. And it depends on what you consider to be important too. If finances are that important, well, then it's going to be easy to walk away from it, for various whatever. I mean, anyway. Yeah.
So it's always been something you've been compelled to do. Now, what advice would you give to aspiring creators who want to explore art as a path, or comics or manga? On this show, we listen, learn, and share, Steve.
Right.
So what advice would you give to a youngling who wants to set off on the path of the way?
To creating. To realize that you are special. To realize what you can do others can't do, and to run with it, and to have fun with it, especially at a young age, not to put too many restrictions. When I did teach high school art for a while, and I encountered a problem in that, do I want them to be an imitator of me, or do I want them to explore what they have?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if maybe this will answer your question a little bit. That young artist, run with it. Know that you're special. create no restrictions until you reach, say, like 14, 15, whatever, and then maybe start to deal with composition, deal with color, and all this stuff, you know. And
right then. Well, we think that is genuine advice. Fully enough, we've got Genuine Comics in the chat, and he's saying, okay. Hello, Azrael and Steve. Hello, Genuine Comics of, well, those perfect Parisian superhero comics that you do. And he's going, greetings, chat. Nice to hear. Genuine Comics, Dave Brink, have you got a question for Steve as an artist? Because obviously you got to hear this, Master Brink. Dave, Genuine Comics, they really are one of the leaders and pioneers of to prove that that independent comics can do superheroes and take the product to the big boys who aren't so big anymore. You know, we know who they are. So we've got a question for you, and maybe you'll come up with your own question, Genuine Comics. Steve's thinking about maybe getting into indie comics, and we've said, well, there is the main cover, yes, but there's so many variants now in indie comics. We feel that Steve, being an artist, John was in the chat earlier, that maybe he could get into doing variant covers because he's got the art chops. He's battle tested for, well, since the beginning of time. And, you know, there's authority in the kind of work he produces. So we wonder if there's a space for him in variant covers. We believe so. What's your question for Steve tonight, Genuine Comics, if you have one? That'll test, because normally we wait for Dave Brink to give us a question, but we've actually turned the tables a little bit. So if you've got a question, Genuine Comics, let's hear it. And by the way, welcome to the chat, Genuine Comics. We'd like you to come on the show sometime and have that cathartic release and talk to us. We'd love to promo you for your next comic. Just as a shout out to Genuine Comics, they've just finished their first 6-issue adventure arc. They've done 6 independent comics, and for the 6th issue, they've actually collected all the previous issues plus the one that's currently on Crowdfunder and done a trade paperback. So they're celebrating hitting number 6, but also trade paperback as well. So congratulations to them. It's on our strong consideration list, and at some point as night follows day, we need to catch up on issue 2, 6, and one other. I think we've got 3, but I think we need another 3 issues to make our Genuine Comics Perfect 10 a Perfect 6 collection. Just saying there, Dave. So anyway, your advice was sage and expertise itself, Steve. Okay, could I ask you, seeing as you collected comics back in the day and have good taste in Bronze Era comics, and you've been through the gamut of Gil Kane and stuff like that.
Right.
What superhero would you be? Got to know. Wonder Woman? We wouldn't mind being Wonder Woman. She's strong, she's graceful, she's elegant. Not sure about the outfit. We might need to go to the superhero tailor shop and get it adjusted.
When I was younger, I mean, you know, I know if I were to say Daredevil.
The man without fear.
Yeah. I mean, I started collecting Daredevil when Stan Lee was still the writer, and Gene Colan had just started at the artwork on it. He had taken over for,
the Dean of Darkness.
Yeah, he had actually taken over for John Romita, and Gene Colan had just started, and he's also doing Iron Man for Tales of Suspense.
He did a very underrated Iron Man. We thought he brought a lot of almost kind of film noir, mood noir to Iron Man.
Well, he definitely had a technique, but again, his style was very Kirby-esque because I heard they wouldn't hire you unless you looked like Jack Kirby, or did work like Jack, the characters and stuff like that. The musculature and everything was supposed to be like Kirby's, and he did with Daredevil and Iron Man, because those were the first 2 that he did. So if the comic book would probably be, superhero would probably be Daredevil.
Right.
Yeah.
Daredevil. So
Yeah.
We're going to be Wonder Woman. You're going to be Daredevil. I think that's a killer combination. How about that, DC and Marvel? Are you listening? How about that for a team up? Right then, bonus questions, not too many, because we don't take too much of your time. What are your plans for Stephen Johnson going forwards? Maybe some indie comic variant covers to supplement your income?
For me to answer?
What are your plans?
Yeah. That's a thought. I've got
the Bible painting that you're doing?
Well, I've got that to finish. But the comic book, I mean, I've got these covers I'm going to try to do. There was supposed to be a Comic Con in this area really close. There was one actually about 4 months ago that I did visit, but it was very small. I talked to a couple of artists that were there, but they did stuff that I don't do. So what are my plans moving forward? Yeah, I'd like to be able to get some sort of income from my artwork. And if it is comic books, that'd be probably more in line with what I can do. The covers would be nice.
Because you could just commit to doing the cover and then it's done.
Yeah, and then go to, right. And then go to something else. Yeah. Or short stories, not anything more than, a short story, maybe.
There is this anthology indie comic called, is it Aces? And we've had them on the show, and they take on board anthology artists, and they do all these stories of about 4 or 5 pages. We could DM you their anthology, and you could perhaps give them some of a portfolio blast of your work, and see if they could maybe take you on board sometime for some interior work.
And how would I do that, or whatever?
Well, what we'll do is we'll say there's this Aces anthology. It's actually got a longer name than that, and we've had the guy who runs it on the show. So what we'll do is we'll find the Twitter address for it, and we'll send it you via the link and say this is the anthology guy that we talked about, and he takes on board anthology artists. You know, talking about working the short story format as well as the variant covers. That would be another avenue of exploration for you. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
We'll link you.
Yeah.
So really, you're exploring areas as well as getting this Bible exhibition piece to finish, and maybe running your own gallery exhibitions in general. But actually supplementing it with illustration work in indie variant covers and maybe anthology books. We do have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 anthology works that actually come into our indie comic portfolio. One thing we suggest to you, Steve, as a bit of advice is keep an eye on our indie comic promos for Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, because our indie comic promos regularly feature indie comic books, and you never know when they might need a variant artist, whether they might need interior work for an anthology, and you might think that's a cool project. I wouldn't mind helping them with a variant cover. You might just take to a book and think that's a great book. I'll put myself forward for their next issue. I don't know, John's Long Box, the Patriarch issue 3. Say, John, I'd love to do a cover for you for your issue 3 as a variant. He likes your art. He said at the beginning there, what did John say? He says, love your art. That's your foot in the door. And maybe a crypto style concept, or what you can talk with him about it. Yeah.
Right. So what days do you do this on?
We do it on the indie comic promos. No problem, Dave. We'll be right with you. We do the promos on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday after 4 o'clock. They usually get posted. Yeah. And what you're seeing up to 20 books at a time, and one of them you might just connect with. Like John's, you've been on John's show, you've connected with him. He loves your art. It's a shoe-in if he's running heroic tales, and what he also does, he does backup tales like a flip book. So the main stories at the front, but he does a flip book and the smaller stories in the back. So you might become one of these short story artists for the backup strip for his crypto style superhero dog. Yeah. So he's got that concept up and running. And if he loves your artwork, you can say, well, yeah, I can knock out 4 or 5 pages of your Superdog for you. And it might be your foot in the door to get it for setting up your reputation to get more indie comic variant cover work or backup story work. Yeah. So just little ideas. And on Thursday, we also run Art Thursday Portfolio Day, where you get to, you just reply to it. We set it up, just reply to it, and people can see your artwork on display. And you could a little tagline saying, we are a classically trained artist, but we're turning our hand to indie comic variant covers and backup stories for anthologies. So that's Genuine Comics. Sorry, Dave, I missed the entire beginning of the stream. Mr. Johnston's art is quite incredible. So you've got your fans out here. If you've got people like John's Lombox and Dave at Genuine Comics saying things like that about you, there's potentially work there if you explore it with them and just have a chat and say, well, Dave might say, well, I've got this book coming up and I might need a variant cover for it, and we'll try it, see what it looks like. If I like it, we'll use it. Or I don't know how that conversation goes, but DM them and just, these people like your work, have a friendly chat with them, we say,
So, okay. So, so Genuine Comics, do I just approach them or?
Well, you could approach Genuine Comics. Dave is a very friendly guy and just have a conversation. I mean, he's got good books. He's got artists that work for him already, but, for those variant covers, or maybe a backup story he might want doing sometime, you know what I mean? He might even do his own superhero anthology comic. And he might say, we want somebody with your classically trained skills to really, and you can maybe look at what his current artist is doing, pick up a few nuances of the style and think, I could do that mixed with my classically trained style. Like Gil Kane was a bit Jack Kirby and maybe a bit Bern Hogarth. Yeah.
I mean, I wish I had some examples of it, but you've seen them before, some of the earlier EC, and then I think especially EC, but then Frazetta did comic books. I mean, they did covers. And
I'm just replying a comment here to Genuine Comics. I'm saying you're right there, Dave. Mr. Johnston's artwork is the bomber. Sounds cool.
Well, thank you.
Of course, we're going to do that. Yeah. So anyway, here Dave says again. Actually, is all your art? Another question for you from the chat.
Okay.
Genuine Comics, is your art purely traditional, Stephen? Do you ever do digital? You can fill them in on Procreate. And what are your thoughts on digital tools? Is there a point where something can be too digital, as you said earlier in the stream that Dave might have missed, about it being plastic? Off you go, Steve.
Okay. Do you ever do digital? Oh, my artwork is purely traditional. Most examples, the only time I've used Procreate was doing the design for that album cover, which was more moving type around and photographs and phasing or changing the focus on photographs and pushing them over here and over there. So I haven't created anything purely digital. I have cleaned up some of my sketches on Procreate and added just touches here and there. I have used the perspective grid on Procreate to set up the design for some of my ideas. Do you ever do digital? I haven't. And what are your thoughts on digital tools? I think as long as you're just covering or you're finishing the original sketch done by hand, I think they're all right.
More of a hybrid approach for you, more of a hybrid, a bit traditional,
right?
Touch up editing,
right. By hybrid, you mean with a gas engine and an electric engine. So the gas runs it most of the time, but the electric just fine tunes it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, is there a point where something can be too digital? Yeah, I think so. I think, and not everybody sees it, but I think an artist should be able to recognize it, that plastic look. Unfortunately, with AI coming on, that a lot of people are going, they're just going for that. Does it match the couch? It impresses me. Wow, it looks great. And then their eyes move right away. They don't even explore it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like buying a book but never reading it. See what I mean?
Gotcha. Buying a book, never reading it.
Yeah.
I think that is an answer, or several answers, that has the universe's chime bells ringing in our ears.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're just going to say here, you're right there, Dave. Mr. Johnson's artwork is the bomber, and he's giving you the bomber answer there as well. And we're just putting here in the chat as well, actually. If we're going to click on it. Great question, Dave.
Yeah.
He always comes up with a good question when he pops in for a chat.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
He is like the sort of Damocles of questions. We like that about him. We do. Yes, a very prominent and decent member of the indie comics community. We hold him in high regard.
You used the word Bomba. There was actually a jungle character that DC did for a while named Bomba. I don't know if you ever saw that.
All right.
I think the artist was Frank Springer, I think.
Frank Springer used to work on Dazzler. Yes, with Frank Springer, we're aware of him. Did good girl art. Tell you what, we've got to say this before we forget. Not so fast, Steve. You've got OCs, and you know what we mean by OC, as we look from the Art Moots community, original characters. Where are they? In your own digital comic, in your artist style, hedging a bit of Gil Kane with digital elements of design coming from Procreate to give it that album cover, front cover look. I mean, we're sensing cosmic planetary alignment here. You've got the OC characters. You could maybe come up with your own independent comic, maybe do some work for variant covers, backup anthology. Think, you know what? I could do my own one-off indie comic and see if that a crowdfund it, see if it brings in some money for you. You know,
that would be nice. So, and my computer skills are basically are what holds me back, and I'm trying to explore. But it's for me to go from here to there. Anyway, it's just.
We'd say once you plug Procreate and the iPad into a bigger monitor care of that dongle, you'll see the Californian Sea, and then you won't feel so constrained because you work at the moment on what, A4, A3, A2, big sheets of paper.
Yeah.
So working on an iPad for you might feel a little bit like it's doing this to you.
Confining, yeah.
Yeah. And that might be the mental block. And if you can get onto, for example, we work on an iMac here, it's 27 inches big. So that's very different to an iPad at 13 inches. The 13-inch iPad still feels more like a viewing device rather than a creating device. 17 inches would be better. If it was something like 21 inches, we'd be in heaven.
Well, if I could, and again, after right now, once I get this Bible scene completed, back to the side note on the Bible scenes that are on my heart to do. Imagine Frank Frazetta illustrating the Bible.
Okay, that's the brief. That's the brief that you're selling it to us.
That with his style of his composition style, the vibrant colors, he always worked triangular. There was always a format of a pyramid in his work. Not always, but most of the time. Anyway, that's a little side note.
So we're seeing the coalescing of a plan to do extra things to supplement your income going forwards.
Right.
When that Bible Frazetta, what we will call it, a Bayeux tapestry is out the way.
Yeah. Is there any way that this can be saved, or I can watch this again?
This stream is an absolute gold mine of artist advice. It's liquid gold in terms of traditional artists exploring digital techniques of composition, traditional techniques married with hybrid digital techniques.
Uh-huh.
I think this, if people want to understand something from a traditional artist's point of view and exploring that digital frontier and the path you're trying to navigate to extra income, it's going to be a valuable stream. You'll be able to see this on Rewatch as soon as we finish tonight.
Okay.
We'll send you the link to it.
Good.
Right then, last couple of questions. What's your favorite pizza, Steve?
Favorite pizza? Well, I'm mostly Portuguese, so I like linguiça. That's the one thing. The second car accident, I lost my sense of smell. And by losing my sense of smell, a lot of people don't realize, but their sense of what they think is their sense of taste is actually their sense of smell. So things do have a way of tasting all the same to me.
So you lost that enjoyment for that aspect of it.
But the good side of that is I've learned it's easier to control my weight. Because smell is what makes you hungry, or thinks you think it makes you hungry. If something smells good, and I don't have that. So anyway, that's the advantage. There's always the advantage. If you look close into disabilities, there's always something that comes out of it that's good. If you look close enough. Okay, favorite pizza, I would probably say linguiça with olives and a lot of cheese. My wife was actually born in Naples, Italy, and she's very strongly Italian. And a true Italian pizza is very different than what we get here.
Go on.
Yeah, have you been to Italy? You probably
haven't. Wish we had.
Yeah,
probably Japan and Italy and Scotland. That sounds like a holy trinity of places on our bucket list.
Okay, because it's basically sauce and cheese, but the sauce is really like handmade and everything. And anyway,
all handmade elevates it when it's handmade like that.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like you've got the Californian beach, you've got the Italian wife, authentic ingredients.
Yeah.
You've got nature's heaven sent beach near you. You've got a studio called the Barn. I mean, it's pure romance, Steve. I mean, it sounds like heaven to us. You know what I mean? I mean, if somebody said that Earth is heaven on earth, you've probably got the closest approximation of it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. I mean, and I think the way to get to that place is the release of things that are holding you.
Hey, the release from the thing that's holding you. I tell you what, hold on to that thought, Steve, because we've got Dave with another cracking question. Okay. Cracking question, Dave. You can read out the question, Steve, and answer it. Go for it.
You are emulating Frazetta's style for your current project, Stephen? ? What about that style fits this particular feel you're going for? What about that style fits feel you're going for? His style was very powerful. It would draw your attention either by using triangles or just vibrant, strong colors. His use of light would keep you, it would hold you. I think that's the biggest thing. It would hold you right on the scene. What wasn't important, he didn't focus on what wasn't important. And that's a problem that I have. That's something that I desire to do because given the chance, I will fill that piece with so much detail that you can't see anything. And that is a problem that I have to deal with. Keep the main thing. He did. And whether he used, like I said, color, a sensuous look to it.
We're just coming to that. The way he did ladies was very graceful.
Right. And it would hold your attention and add to what's going on.
Yeah.
He is an illustrator, so he was trying to put across something that was written down, or an idea, whether it was Edna Rice Burroughs or Robert Howard. Especially with Howard's pieces, there was a darkness there, blood and whatever. And so Frazetta would do that. I think it's some of the
He wasn't afraid of telling it how it was, but in a kind of graceful, romantic way. But there's still that undercurrent of truth about it.
It was. Oh gosh, who was Roy Krinkle? He learned from Roy Krinkle, which their styles are really not even that well. Krinkle was a little bit like him, but for him to launch off of what Roy Krinkle did, and then just to add these powerful things to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did I answer the question that correctly? What about the stuff? I mean,
you're talking about his powerful elegance, his grace, and talking about only the essential things that need to be in a painting, I think was the main point.
Yeah.
And is that what you're trying to emulate? Only the necessaries going into your quote unquote
that
scene.
That and one other thing. Most Bible scenes you see, to me, anymore are pretty flat. There's really nothing happening there. It's very flat. It's almost out of fear of offending anybody.
Gotcha.
So they make it very, very flat. The styles aren't even that good. I want to do this Bible scene that I want to do. I want everybody to be attracted to it.
Exactly. So you're going to give it some depth, some story, some interaction, almost like, the stream earlier talking about the planar aspects of being invited into the scene. So it's not just a flat 2D kind of thing that you're watching go past. It's actually something you can actually be in.
Yeah.
Dave says here, thanks for the answer, sir. I find it impressive when artists can do different styles.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Thank you for the question and the Steve love.
Yeah.
So you're trying to actually give some, without offending people, you're trying to give something, the Frazetta Bible scene, a bit of depth, something meaty you can actually, your eyes can hook onto and get into.
Right. The scene I'm working on now is where Lot and Abram separate, and it's on a hillside, and I don't have any of the pictures. I wish I had. Anyway.
So Steve, question number 8.
Yeah.
Where can they find out more info about you?
My website needs work. They can look at my website. It's sjohnsonfineart.com. They can see some of the older work.
Yep, at the website. Still needs work, but there's that. And
contact me through Instagram.
Instagram is probably one of your hot spaces to be because of your art style.
Yeah. And my name is Johnson 1259.
And on X, you are x.com/SteveJohn70243. And we're at that point of the show where we have navigated an absolute canyon of traditional art advice with the vast reserves of experience of Steve's art career. We think there's a place for you in indie comics, variant covers, anthology short stories to supplement your income, and maybe getting a quicker turnaround of income as well. Because there's always people in indie comics that need a variant. They're going to look at yours and they'll find a reason to employ you. Do you get what we're saying? Because your art style begs the question, what if indie comics could look like this? And for maybe one variant cover, at least, maybe they can. Oh, and thank you to Dave at Genuine Comics. Appreciate that. Thanks, Carl and Steve. Appreciate that. Cheers, Dave.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're looking forward to his next campaign and see if we can get him on the show. We'd love to that to quiz his brain. He runs his own show. Great to listen to. He gets to the gestalt of the human condition, you know,
and that's important. That's as artists. That's what we are. We're broadcasters. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. We're the original YouTube broadcasters from the traditional canvas and oils.
That's right. Yep.
Steve, thank you very much for being our special guest.
Thank you.
You know what? We wish you well. I mean, it's an honor and a pleasure because we've spoken to you in DMs for a little while. Yeah. We thought, ask him if he wants to come on the show. So we say, we wish you well, Stephen Johnson, and Godspeed. Heaven on earth in paradise. And we say to people, please like, comment, and subscribe if it's on YouTube, and give Steve a follow if it's on X, and the 5 Pillars of Storytelling. Give us a follow too, and to Dave at Genuine Comics, and to John's Longbox. They're always worth a follow. We listen to John's Longbox when we're in the bath. Steve, you've got the last word. What say you?
I want to thank you for just this opportunity to speak about who I am, what's going on, and to invite you into the barn studio and just to be a part of what's going on, what I'm doing, and to be, I don't know, for the future, for what's going to open up.
Tell you what, no problem. We think there's a future that's going to open up as soon as you get that Frank Frazetta Bible scene done your way, powerfully done. We think the road's going to open up for you in terms of other illustration opportunities. So we're going to play our outro trailer. If we find the right button, here we go. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and an honor. And I can't believe that. Oh, fantastic.